Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the VLF1 Power Box, sponsored by D's Nuts. My name is Brandon. I'm the host here, as usual. Today we've got Travis
Hello.
and Credden.
Quick shout out to everyone who's peeled themselves away from Endwalker to do this.
Yes, or are still sat in queue while doing this. You know, it's all about min-maxing your time.
Hell yeah.
So I just want to cover first that this is now round 5 of the third, and we're also binning Monaco off until round 12? 13?
Somewhere around there, before the 100th Grand Prix.
Basically, we've swapped Emilia, Romagna, and Monaco. So this is the pre-show for round 5, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix.
And remember, this isn't round 5, it's not round 5, this is round 5.
We love a good trilogy.
But before we go into the trilogy, I think it's time we look back to the past. So let's first take a look at last week's results at France. Good race. Let's talk to the man who was there giving us the information live, Daniel.
Yeah, great race, although we've had, 4 or 5 in the meantime. It was a lot cleaner than I expected. No safety cars from the drivers that will remember it. And you could clearly see the pace diff between our top few drivers and everyone down below. Because of no safety cars, a lot of drivers were able to look at tyre strategies. Most chose the one-stop, medium tyre into hard tyre strategy. And as a result, it just meant that driver pace was the diff. Sonny and Trav finishing very closely, Sonny taking the dub, his second win of the season. And Somther, Crispy, and Charmander taking the top 5.
I suppose being that the man sat across us, we should ask Travis how you feel the race went. You know, second place, I'm guessing it's not what you were aiming for. It might have been seen as inevitable, being that Sonny showed he had some form of pace in France and was then trying to show everyone how good its pace was. How did the race go for you?
Well, it's never a good thing when you spin on the first lap. Sonny making a habit of winning now. His first win was where was his first win, Dan? In Austria, right?
It was first round of Austria out of 2.
Yeah, so picking up a second win for him, still on 0 for myself. Yeah, but hopefully we're going to change that.
How did the race go in terms of strategy and everything? You know, with the lap 1 spin, Alex trying to keep up with the top 3 in the podium. I can imagine there was an uneasy, quiet tension in Red Bull during the first, should we say, half of the race?
Looks like the uneasy tension from Red Bull has spread to this pre-show. So while he gathers his team, it's worth pointing out that Trav and Charmander had Law with them. Didn't quite have Miffy, but they're looking for him to rejoin for future races.
When I go back down to London live, Earth to London. Travis, can you hear us?
Apologies, yeah, we had a little voice scenario, sorry.
Okay.
That's production for you.
Do you want the question again?
Yes, please, go on. What were you saying?
So obviously a spin is never factored into a race strategy when you're trying to, probably go for a 1-2. Alex struggling to keep up with the top 3, your lap 1 spin. I imagine the first half of the race was pretty tense in the Red Bull call. How did the strategy then sort of develop into, what's effectively a last to second challenge?
Well, Alex did everything right. My side of things, I didn't pick up any damage, luckily, so we pretty much just kept the entire same plan throughout the race, and there was no safety cars, unfortunately, so I just had to rely on pure pace and pure racecraft to get myself back through. And yeah, we're lucky that it turned out the way it did.
I mean, you can't complain. A second from last. Good points all for the team and for you personally. Sure, you can be happy with it as much as you're not as happy as you could have been. As for any news,
par for the course.
Off of the course. As for any news, France this year had the rare occasion of being, probably to mind, one of the only races I can think of in recent times where there were no submissions to the stewards. Me and Travis both on the steward team. And it was a week off for us because no one submitted anything. There was nothing that any of the shows needed to raise. Partly because France's massive track runoffs, you're not going to get a safety car very easily. People can battle a bit better because there's more space. But I think also, with Dan mentioned, there was a massive spread in the field at France. It was quite distinctive. The cars at the front, the cars in the middle, the cars at the back.
Yeah, totally. And by the way, I want to give a side shout out to Pyro. He finished in the top 10, finished in the points, got P9. But the game actually awarded him driver of the day for that race because unlike other drivers who gained 1 to 3 places, Pyro gained a full 5 places from last on the grid all the way up to points finish. So GG lower down the grid.
The only thing to cover from France then is Racing Rivals results.
Yeah,
Crannon.
Yeah, Racing Rivals. Quickly, it's a sort of meme bit of fun content for VLF1. Doesn't affect the championship. And each week, if you're driving, your seat for your constructor has a battle against another seat from another constructor. So, wins coming through for Glenn, Sonny, Travis, Somtha, and Miffy in one group at the expense of Shadowhopper. We've got Hodgson taking out Monty. We had Crispy taking out Charmander, which is a rare loss for the Junior Red Bull. And we had Law removing Maka in a 1v1 battle.
Moving swiftly on to how that has us standing up today, then we'll go over to the driver standings.
Yeah, we'll get there. So the driver standings are at the back.
Well, the
now.
TV's doing some freaky stuff today. Driver standings: Travis holding firm at the top, 62. Sonny just behind. Oh, sorry, Sonny second, 51. Charmander just behind, 50. Tom for 39, Glenn 36, me on 26, Maka 25, Monty 25, a good joint race there. Fly, who hasn't raced since the first race, on 17, and then Bodson bringing up the best of the rest with 16. Anything jumping out to you in the early days, Cradden?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm sort of nicking this from Trav when he looked at the standings recently. It's worth pointing out the difference between the more consistent drivers and the more outlier coin flip drivers. I can only call them coin flip, even though it's BM. So Sonny, he's won 2 races, but he didn't turn up to another, and he retired in the 4th. So he's very erratic in terms of results. Same with Charmander. He's beginning to show a bit of consistency, but he's got 1 win, a podium, didn't show up for a 3rd race, and then 5th in another race. So he's getting towards the top. He's becoming more consistent. Trav is the top of the table. He hasn't won a race, but just by finishing in the top 5 every single time, he's looking down on everyone. So consistency is the key. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Depending on how we run things, we've got between 20 and 23 rounds. So there's a long way to go. And even if you're not on the board, a couple of wins would currently put you 3rd. So yeah, all to play for.
Touching on what Daniel mentioned there quickly, Travis, top of the table. Not won a race yet. Obviously, you want to win a race, but how do you feel your season's going so far?
Well, it is what it is. 62 points in the bag out of 4 races, so it's a fairly average start. Just looking at other drivers, really, Somfa doing really well, having a really good start for himself this season. Glenn also really good on the Ferrari court. Maka doing excellent, winning Spain for himself, and it's nice to see new blood as well, just up on the top 10. Sonny and Maka making a name for himself.
Cradden, then I've got a spicy question for you. We'll classify Travis, Sonny, and Charmander as the best, and then we'll go with some for 39. Sorry, some for 39, Glenn 36, me 26, Maka and Monty 25. We'll classify them as best of the rest for now. Any early hints on who you think might take that 4th and maybe 5th spot?
Quite a few. I don't think we've seen anything like the scoreboard settling itself, not least with a few new drivers showing themselves as great racers. One I want to point out is Gaben, who's been inconsistently attending so far. He's only participated in 1 race and he's retired, but in a few practice races in the BBU Racing League, and indeed in a few of the races that haven't counted towards our Drivers' Championship, he's performed very well and he's brought good pace to bear. Also in that category, Tarachi, who's come across from BBU as well. I think we could see a couple of drivers in that mould. Maybe Calm if he does 1 or 2 more races. I don't know what Scott's getting up to now that he's getting towards the end of his season-long ban and had it reprieved for about the third, fourth time. There's a lot that could still go up there. But looking at last season, Red Bull should be strongly towards the top. Yourself, Blaze, and Glenn, you're good, consistent scorers who turn up a lot. I'm expecting some of the coin flippy drivers to sort of fall off a bit, but I'm not going to name them right now.
So out of those top 5, you got to pick one who you think is going to be leading out that group of 5 for the next couple of weeks. Who's your money on? Who would you say is the one to back at the book is?
It's easy to call the one at the top at the moment, but Trav, he's consistent. He's the one to bet on out of that group.
Okay. Moving on to constructors. We've got Red Bull and then everyone else.
Yeah.
So Red Bull 122, Ferrari 52, Sonny 51, Mercedes 47, Alpine 31, Williams 30, 25 Alpha, 19 McLaren, 18 Haas, and 10 Alpha Tauri. Obviously, Red Bull running away at the start, but Daniel, do you think anyone else is... Let's go again, similar question, best of the rest. Let's take the top 4 that aren't Red Bull. So Ferrari, Aston Martin, Mercedes, and Alpine. If you were to do the whole, okay, who's going to establish themselves as second and third, who's your money riding on this early in the season?
Okay, that's a great question, Blaze. Again, to highlight the earlier point, I value consistency over flash in the pan. So as well as Sonny's done so far, I don't think he's going to keep his constructor in third place. At the moment, he's a single driver. He's looking for subs and people to fill the seats that Dan and Kelly have vacated. So I don't see him on his own putting teams on his back and getting his constructor up into that podium fight as far as the Constructors' Championship is concerned. I can see Merck, who's currently in 4th, improving a bit with yourself, Blaze, and Somther participating well. Glenn and Hodge are a really solid partnership for Ferrari as well. They haven't had the greatest of results, so Hodge has retired in 2 races with 2 P6s a la Byron. We've had Glenn retiring once, and we've had 2nd, 4th, and 7th classifications. So I think they can bring up their consistency. Ferrari are basically Red Bull light. They have the partnership, they have the training, they don't quite have the performance.
Travis, obviously you guys are running way out in front. Are you looking over your shoulders? You can be honest, you can say no. If not, we can slightly mold the question, but are you looking over your shoulder?
Not really, no. I'm as a Red Bull camp, we are super familiar with Emilia, and we're probably going to keep that strength. I'm going to keep the ball rolling, and we're only going to steamroll even further.
Having a quick look at the junior teams, I mean, fair play. Looking at the junior teams, you've got Williams on 30 points, so they're sort of mid-table, 6th. Alfa Romeo on 25, with 7th, and then bringing up the root of the table at the minute currently is the Red Bull junior team in Honda. Any of the junior teams looking particularly spicy to you, Trav? Are you looking over and thinking, oh, you know, in the middle to lower end of the field, there's some good battles forming, or is there anything that sort of, that could be interesting to watch?
Rumor has it that Calm is making a return this weekend, so I'm looking at Haas to jump up. McLaren has the homeboy in Copy, so he's probably going to put in some effort this weekend because it's similar and home ground, home turf. He probably wants to bag a few points here. Alfa Romeo has Gaben and Marca, and they always do an excellent job from what I've seen so far. Also an incredibly strong team. Williams with Crispy is incredibly strong. That whole ball game is just a complete mess, honestly. From 6th to 9th, anyone can take it.
So while we're still getting the Travis, let's flash forward 5 races, assuming we actually get any races done. Who would you expect to be in second behind you? Who early doors, take a punt. Let's see if the bookies will give you good odds. Pick one team out of the top 5. Who do you expect to be trailing you in second place specifically?
Well, I think Cradden pull it really well. I don't expect Sonny to keep his leads. It's really tough being by yourself because if you drop the ball once, you get 0 points, and that is your team gone, basically. So I expect Ferrari to stay strong and Mercedes to overtake Aston very, very soon.
Okay, let's. Shall we move on to the spiciness of this weekend coming up?
Oh, quick one. Sorry,
Go on.
Blaze. I'm going to interrupt you. I want to put 2 spicy side bets out there. So
Okay.
one is Haas. If Calm comes back and he gets a good sub, I want to see Haas go from 9th in constructors to just shoot up there. The second spicy bet, and this is for my boys in red and dark red out there, I kind of want to see the junior Alfa Romeo team overtake Ferrari. Because if they have Gavin and Maka in the junior team, and Glenn as the captain can't rotate them up because of top 10 finish last season, we might well see a scenario in a few races where the junior Ferrari team overtakes the senior. So yeah, let's watch out for that. Back to
It
you,
is
Blake.
incredibly early doors. The point gaps we're looking at are it's 25 for Alfa and 52 for Ferrari. They are relatively insignificant when you come to think of what the totals will be at the end of the season, in the hundreds. I suppose there's a chance it could happen, and then it would be a bit of a PR nightmare for Ferrari.
Never.
Okay, so we'll move on to Emilia Romagna, also known as Imola. The full name of the track escapes me off the top of my head. However, I can find it pretty quickly with
Enzo Ferrari or something like that?
a
They named it after him or something.
Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Dino Ferrari, also
There we
better
go.
known as Imola. Used to be known as the San Marino Grand Prix, regardless of the fact that it's not in San Marino. But hey, 90s F1, you do you. New for VL. No previous history we can look at. New track. Never raced there before. Probably one of the better tracks in terms of what we've got access to with the game, because it's one of the tracks they've put more time and effort into creating, an accurate recreation of it. I suppose someone's going to be making history here. Cradden was the first person to ever win a race in Imola in VL.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out the calendar through seasons 1 to 3 was fairly static. We had Hockenheim go the wrong way, and we brought in Vietnam and Zandvoort for season 4. Calm and Trav took wins there. So it's that sort of thing. Who can break new ground? Who can make history? The slate is blank, so to speak. You can be the first person ever in VLF1 to win at the Imola track. So one thing I want to ask, Trav, is I've seen you practicing the Imola track a bit. How are you finding it?
I'm enjoying it very much. It's grown on me a lot since its first debut in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and they have a laser scan over there. The Codemasters version is pretty faithful. There are some little bits that are in the incorrect spots, but besides that, I think all the drivers are going to enjoy this track a lot. And like I said earlier, the Red Bull boys all have raced at this track before in GT3 cars, so this is nothing new to us.
Go tapping onto the ego then, Trav. Is there any hint in your head that you want to stake your claim as the first winner in VL? Is that something that you're thinking about, or are you trying to sort of focus purely on what's ahead of you? And you can be honest with us.
Usually I would say, yeah, I would win this, but safety cars can come out. I'm very much expecting that to happen since it's a brand new track for everyone except the Red Bull lot. So yeah, they can always throw a wrench in things, but if a safety car was not to happen, I'd say I'm going to take this today.
And you're going to stake your name as the inaugural winner at Imola in VL. I suppose that's the correct way of putting it.
Yeah, and incidentally, by the way, Trav's done that at 2 previous tracks. So one is Zandvoort, first appeared in season 4, Trav's won, and it's the only time we've done Zandvoort to date. The other one, Trav, do you know what other track you've won at in season 1 for the first time?
Monaco?
You've got it in 1, my dude. Yeah, you were the first ever winner in Monaco. You won in season 4 as well. Flyer and Charmander winning in the meantime. Could be your third one, Trav.
Did you ever race any track for the first time that was a new track?
Definitely. So I did a bit at the start of season 1. We obviously had our legendary Constructors Championship winning form at the end of season 1, Brandon.
Yeah.
Definitely did Vietnam and Zandvoort for the first time. Cheers, Shadowhopper. And just it was interesting to see everyone try and practice for the first time, light up the time trial boards, #Sunny, and just see how everyone's gonna get in shape for the race.
So let's go for a question then, Cradden. As an ex-driver, but when you were driving, is there anything in particular that you think of or comes to your mind when you first think, okay, the next tackle, the next hurdle is this track that no one has done? What goes through your mind, either in, prepping for the track or on a race day? Are there any hints of like, anything can happen here, it's a new track, people make mistakes? Or have you gone for the giga sweat because it's new to you? Like, what would you do in the build up to a race weekend when you go, new track, new for everyone, no one's touched it before, say for Vietnam or Zandvoort?
Yeah, great question. I think the key thing to take away is, because it's a new track, you don't really have much to go on. You can't look at previous seasons' results, see what the tyre strategies are, see how good the tow is in qualifying, see what your race pace was in previous iterations, which means you have to do that preparation yourself. Trav's a driver, and an example of a driver that does that very well. The Ferrari boys, in addition, they get data by just doing it on time trial, doing a few 50% to practice, try a bit of competitive racing, and that will give you an idea of things before the race. You don't want to be going into the Sunday, the first time VLF1 does a race, with you being new to that racetrack, or with you still struggling in terms of setup, tyre strategy, how to manage the, I would say fuel mix, but it's not that anymore, or how to manage different scenarios that might manifest on a race day. You've got to have that extra preparation there.
I suppose then it's a case of waiting and seeing what this weekend provides. I imagine there's going to be a wide range of scenarios that are going to pop up, and should we say, there's always the chance on a new track for someone to throw a spanner in the works because of a safety car, or because they find themselves in a podium spot because time penalties, or someone awkwardly. Anything can happen. Let's put it that way. Anything can happen. And it makes for that little bit spicier. And there's always the chance that it's going to rain, which then makes everything extra spicier. But let's not taint the waters.
Looking forward to it.
Last thing to touch on then, Colin Nuzarelli, I'm told, is currently having Team Biscuit, so we're going to have to rely on you, I'm afraid, Cradden. Racing rivals for tonight?
Yeah, I'll do my best without Nuzarelli's hand on my shoulder. Yeah, Racing Rivals. So I've set it up for this early stage of Racing Rivals so that both drivers in a constructor will face both drivers in another constructor every week. So Ferrari up against Haas could be cool if Com comes back. We've got Aston Martin facing off against Alpine, so a sunny shadow hopper potential. I want to see Trav versus Pyro because Red Bull take on McLaren. That'd be great. The home favourite versus the championship leader. We've then got Williams coming up against AlphaTauri. And probably my highlight is Alfa Romeo versus Mercedes. You've got a really proven partnership of Blaise Somther, who have been in the league for a while, scored a lot of points, against the absolute wildcard coin flip potential winners of Gaben and Maka. So, yeah, everything just bated breath, waiting to happen. And I want to see who takes out the other one when the rosters are locked and are brought to the racetrack.
Excellent. In which case, then, thank you very much for your time today, gents. Thank you, Travis.
No, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, Cradden.
Cheers, Blaise. Cheers, Trav.
Thanks to the production team who you can't hear. So, coming up next then, Red Bull reckon they've got this in the bag. Is there any chance of a Ferrari mix-up, a Mercedes mix-up, or something else throwing a spanner in the works? All of Emilia coming up next.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I hope you change whatever you're doing now to watch VLF1. My name's Cradden, and I'm coming back for another cast and another round 5. I'm with Impress. Impress, how are you doing?
Hello, Crudden. I'm doing pretty great. How about you? What did you do? What did you do before doing this here?
So this evening, I've gone over to Mama Cradden's. We had a great afternoon. We ate. We watched a couple episodes of a TV show, and more recently, I've watched the real life Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Back at you, my dude.
Basically the same. Like it was a pretty chill day, Sunday. Pretty calm, but a lot of entertainment in the real Formula One, which I hope we will have as well here in the VL version. But we will see.
Yeah, we're gonna have some interesting times. Obviously, I've said it's the third or fourth round 5 that we've gone through, and just as that happens, we're setting up our lobby with qualifying. The reason I'm saying third or fourth round 5 is because we had a couple of attempts at Monaco, and with F1 2021 not being the greatest game, there have been issues with lobby connection, having desyncs, teleporting safety cars, and they've become so critical that we've had to sort of write off the last 2 sessions. So yeah, we've even broke the patience of the grid, who doesn't even want to race Monaco. I think that's most of us. And yeah, this week we're going to go for Imola Grand Prix. How do you feel about that one, Impress?
Very nice. I was just thinking when you listed all the, let's say, events that happened in this still very young VL season, right? But I think you had more different co-casters than we had tracks in VL. I'm not sure about that. I mean, now we're finally away from Monaco. To Italy. In what's it called?
Yeah, I was joking with you before the race that
Yeah.
playing into the Italian stereotypes and how reading out the corners would sound like ordering a pizza. So we're at the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari. So it's named after the 2 Ferrari boys.
Yeah, and that with an acqua minerale.
That's the one. So yeah, I think you ordered some spicy piratella on your pizza.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Love me the spice. What's your favorite pizza topping, Gren, by the way?
Oh, that's a good one. I really want to just come out with pineapple to set the chat aflame.
Yes.
I normally quite like Meat Feast, so I normally go for Domino's when I'm going for a pizza, and I'll go for
I've never had Domino's in my entire life. Can you believe it?
Oh, I can believe it. I mean, are there many Domino's where you live?
No. I live in a pretty rural area, so just like different. The nearest KFC, right, is 45 minutes away. I would say.
Okay, yeah, that puts it in perspective.
Domino's probably. I don't know if there's one 45 minutes away or 1.5 hours. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to have a Domino's pizza if there's none anywhere nearby.
Yeah.
When you go for pizza, do you make it yourself? Do you bring out your oven baking skills? Your wood paddles?
Yeah. It's like my oven baking skills are I don't know, not existent. I would say I'm missing an accurate comparison, but well, I don't know. I'll just order takeaway. It's all good, from a favorite pizzeria. It has to be spicy. That's what I like, and yeah, that's how I like my races. How I like my pizza, Credden.
Very spicy. Yeah, I wonder if that's your Thai genes kicking in. Like, I think everything I've had that's related to Thai cuisine, the green curries, for example, have just sent me sideways. Oh man. I now think we're making this like the Great British Bake Off, where we all want to go and eat instead of watching a Grand Prix, and I can sympathise. Yeah. As you say, Impress, I've had a lot of different co-casters. When was the last time we casted? I'm thinking back to Impressions episode 9, or like 15 minutes with Cradden that ended up being an hour.
Good question. We haven't had the opportunity long. Oh my god! I think it has to be for sure at least 2 years since the last time. I don't know, but a long time.
Man, it's good to revive something good, and yeah, since then we've had our stints on NSK. You were the coach with the belt. You've moved on to a belt for several other teams in the meantime, I understand.
Yeah. And you are I don't know, having a pretty glamorous career and the casting opportunity of the VL F1 section at least. At least you get, I don't know. It's kind of similar though, because week in, week out, I get to see some bookie stuff going on. You get to see some bookie stuff going on Sundays. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun.
Okay, sounds good. And with that in mind, we're going to be going into the lobby for tonight's qualifying. So, yeah, hopefully we'll be bringing you some Emilia Romagna on your screens shortly. We've got 16 drivers, obviously 20 spaces on the grid. 18 were locked and 16 have made it past the rigorous Codemasters obstacle that is getting into a lobby. And yeah, we're looking forward. Impress, any drivers you're particularly interested in looking at tonight?
Yeah, well, the last time I've raced in VLF1, we had the Empire of Calm reigning supreme. You know, he's gone. The Crown Prince and Flyer, he's gone. So it's all down to Travis, I would say. Travis and Charmander. Red Bull looking really, really good in terms of constructors. Sunny has been on a hot streak lately, if I remember correctly. So that's going to be interesting to see if he can keep his form up. Other than that, I'm curious how the Ferrari strats are going. Credden, can you elaborate? Can you explain? Is there still some love between Glenn and Brandon?
There's it is love-hate. I think it's. I was at a party last night.
Hate Love, by the way, Credden, sorry to interrupt you. It's a very good song. You would like it from Eskimo Callboy.
Oh, okay. Eskimo, yeah, I've been recommended that band, so that's going on later. Yeah, I was at a party last night. There's a Scouse saying called "On Blag," where two people are destined to be in a relationship. They want to be in a relationship with each other. Everyone knows they're about to hook up, but they don't know the other person's intentions yet. Glenn and Brandon, they've been on Blag as far as VLF1 is concerned for several seasons. It's like Hamilton and Verstappen in real life. All the controversies seem to escalate around them. And it's beautiful because they are the captains of their respective form and project teams. So yeah, all stakes. With all the cars preparing to go into our first session of qualifying, we'll be looking at today's track in the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Okay, here we are. You've seen all the crashes that have happened in previous seasons. We're here for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, Round 5 repurposed for Season 5. And here we see a beautiful day, although I've heard warnings that weather could be very volatile as we go through our session. It's a beautiful track. We've seen it a couple times in the real-life F1, obviously discontinued after the fatalities of 1994. It's a really nice track, lots of sausage curbs, not much overtaking opportunity, and I'm expecting our drivers to be running really high wings because of the aerodynamic pressures of this track. Tamburello, Aquaminerale, a lot of famous chicanes, doglegs, and just a few quick corners in a row. It reminds me of Monza, another famous Italian track, in that there's lots of straights, there's a temple of speed effect, but you've really got to nail those corners and get the exits perfect. Okay, Impress, we're now going to live footage of our 16 drivers, and we're about 5 minutes into the first qualifying session. Immediately, I'm seeing a lot of rain. What do you think about that?
Yeah, if you look at the weather forecast, it's gonna rain for the entirety of qualifying, but the race itself looks to be sunny. So, well, let's see what. Obviously, the strategy you have to go here. You want to adapt for the race, right? So probably you go for a dry setup for your car. Maybe you can tweak it a little bit, but you have to be careful for park firming because you can't change the entire setup of your car. Other than that, I don't know how many laps these guys have practiced in wet conditions here in Imola, because that's going to be an entirely different experience.
Yeah, it's really a spanner in the works in Press because it's difficult switching from dry to wet, as you just said. To do it on a track that we haven't actually raced before, people wouldn't normally know the right setups, people having to adjust to the new handling model of the game, which has already flummoxed some of the greater drivers like Calm in our field. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers are adapting, whether they try and go for a setup that compromises between wet and dry conditions, or whether they sort of throw qualifying a bit, go a bit slower, and then recover like a Mr. Sunday would. Your drivers like Glenn are normally great at that. The sort of saving grace for them is that because the dry setup normally requires high wings, it's not really the aerodynamics that change much. It's more the suspension. We'll be seeing fairly soft suspension. It might get a bit stiffer as we get into the wet conditions, but it's that sort of change that drivers are going to have to bank on.
Yeah, definitely. Also, it surprised me. It was mentioned in the pre-show that there are some rumors of Calm returning, and he took a little bit of break. He's back now as the lone horse driver. So, because you asked me earlier which driver I'm gonna look at, and with Calm back in the picture, definitely a guy who can maybe race for the win. I'm not sure. He hasn't practiced that much because he's busy either celebrating his 14th birthday that was last week or 2 weeks ago.
That's the one, yeah.
So, the boy's growing up. Happy late birthday, Calm, if that still counts.
Yeah, he's got to navigate the pressures of puberty alongside going through this Grand Prix, so a real full plate for our horse driver here, but he's still within a second of the lead. We are going to have a quick look at that horse. We see it going through the end of Sector 1. We're actually, I'd like to see with our production if we can get a ride along with a driver. We've got an Alfa Romeo coming up to the start line. Let's see if we can get onto them as we see a invalidation on the other Alfa Romeo. Unfortunate for Skaben, he's just heading into the pits. So a lot of drivers really queuing up, getting used to these wet conditions. Let's have a look now and see Carlos, who's in the McLaren. Impress going to have a bit of a familial loyalty here as he goes straight down into Variante Bassa, turn 1. Nice bit of a straight here. We've got Tamburello, and we know that from Russell and Bottas in real life F1. He's going to use the sausage curbs. Obviously, you can see him struggling to control his car in the wet conditions. We're going to be having a nice little Variante Villeneuve there. Nice little dogleg left into right. We've got a really slow second gear corner there. It's Tosa corner, and that's going to be the end of Sector 1 for Carlos. As we said earlier, just so many straights between these little finicky chicanes, doglegs, and corner complexes. He's going to go into the left-hander with several apexes per Atella. Fairly high speed, as opposed to this next one, Aqua Minerale. We've got 2 right-hand apexes, go down to 3rd gear on that second apex, and he's going to accelerate out again. Really struggling with that traction in those wet conditions. Only a couple corners to go. It's hard not to cut this one. It's like the corner at Monza, whose name escapes me at the moment. Only a right into left chicane this time. And here we've just got a Ravazza corner to finish off the lap. It's 2 left-handers, fairly slow, and you just can't afford to cut because, as we know from the final corners of tracks, it's double boot risks. And Carlos, after all of that, has messed it up.
And there was a Red Bull behind him. Obviously, I mean, apparently, can we be biased here, Corinne? I don't know.
We can be as biased as we like.
Okay, since he some might know, some might not know it. Carlos, my brother, so obviously I talked to him before this race. He said it's a really fun track, challenging though, but he's got to look forward to it. He hasn't practiced that much in wet conditions, so just to spill the tea here a bit. He asked Travis earlier how many laps Travis put in, and Travis just casually, as we all know, because when Travis, decides to do something, he's gonna do it 110%, or he's not gonna do it at all. There's no half-ass shit from Travis going on. So Travis said like casually, "Oh well, I just did 100 laps. It's okay." And then my brother was like,
404 response, not fun.
Okay.
I mean, 100 in a row, or just like 10 every hour? Like,
100 in a day. Imagine. I don't know. Travis is a madman. He's a madman.
I fear for him. Oh, as we see
Ooh.
Charmander retiring from the session, I think that's in the pits because I'm looking for the dark blue Red Bull icon on the map and I can't see it. It looks like he's just happy with his performance. Although, really, I'd be concerned. I'd want to see him getting more time with these wet tires.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you just use the time? There's gonna be one lone wolf who's not gonna make it to Q2 with 16 drivers being here. But you could use. I mean, you don't have to go full speed, right? But just get a little bit of experience on these rainy conditions on Emilia. Because maybe Alex is confident enough. He knows what he can do. He loves the wet and just says, "Oh well, rather risking to be crashed out by some interesting choices made by other drivers. I'm just gonna relax here." Watch the stream. Watch a glorious VL stream, by the way. Obviously, tune in and just have a nice evening.
Yeah, boy, big boy production, and not much production at all from Law's engineers because they've got a dead car on their hands. We're going to get a quick on board with Hodgson, who's coming up to the Tosa slow left-hand corner. We'll see if the game has digitally removed Law from the circuit at that point, but unfortunately, his exit didn't appear to be on fleek as he exited from that complex. So yeah, Impress, you asked about one driver who's going to leave. We kind of now know who it is, provided that Somther can get a time on the board.
Yeah, Somther just needs to go around the track, not invalidate his lap. Can he do it? I don't know.
He's on the last straight. He hasn't invalidated, and there we go. He's into P3. So not just a basic time to get through, he's actually challenging the top of the field. So well played, Somther, and barring any further DNFs, we now know which 15 drivers will be in our second round of qualifying.
Exactly. So now you have like 5 minutes left. You can either take back, relax, retire, and watch, as said, the marvelous VL stream, or you just get a little bit of practice in, because we skipped practice due to ILF1. We see Calm slowly driving around here, just let the Ferrari by. I'm not sure who that was. Either Watson or Glenn. Yeah.
Let's get a quick fix. That was our boy Glenn, the Ferrari project captain, just whizzing by Calm.
Only time Glenn can pass Calm, no?
Yeah, certainly looks like. Hashtag Ferrari captain, hashtag don't talk to me after the show. So yeah, Calm, obviously he's a bit of a question mark at the moment. Obviously he's the most successful driver in VL F1 history. He's won, it's somewhere between 30 and 35 races out of our 89 so far. Shout out to this being the 90th Grand Prix, but also applied in the last 3 attempts we did for round 5. Yeah, Calm is wobbling a bit, and he's not been on point this season. He's not a fan of the handling model in F1 2021, which we've only started using for this season. And as a result, he hasn't really delivered the results that we'd expect from Calm. He finished 10th in the initial Austrian race, and he's retired in the only 2 other races he's taken part in, which I believe were the Styrian Grand Prix and the Spanish Grand Prix. So Calm not living up to his previous standards, but as we've seen here, he's got at least high midfield pace and one of the best knowledges of all the drivers here.
There is a McLaren on the track. Or it has to be a Shadow probably crashed out there, yeah. In the final corner. So another one gone. Another one by Sidosgren. 14 drivers now. See, that's a risk though. You can practice it. Just what I meant, just don't go full speed because you don't have to. You're already in Q2, but the Shadow took the risk and the Cody scored. What's his name? BL Barry or yeah, it
That's
was
right.
not in favor. So unlucky for Shadow.
Yeah, we just see on stream Hodgson had a bit of an incident going up to turns, I think it's 7 and 8. And yeah, it got back on the track. He's still got what looks like most of his wings, so he's more fortunate than Shadowhopper. Yeah, unfortunately, I was talking about Com's potential, and Shadow was just DNFing while that happened. So Shadow is gonna not get through to Q2. He's gonna be in 15th, and the only way he's gonna improve is if drivers who've had slower times also DNF. So as you said, Impress, that's the risk.
That is indeed the risk. About the new faces here, at least from Mikron, Ronaldinho, the Gaben I know of, Maka. I think I've seen like one race. How are they performing so far in this young season?
Kind of admirably, to be honest, Alex, because Ronaldinho aside, we haven't seen him classify in an official race because the 2 times he's been on the track, we've had to cancel the classification. He's been involved in a couple incidents and hasn't delivered great pace so far, but I'm actually really intrigued by him because he's 4th on the time trial on dry condition Imola going into this weekend. So, as much as we haven't seen him perform yet, there's a lot of indications that he could. Calm ice skating across the track, by the way. The other ones you mentioned, Impress, were Maka and Gaben. They're the Alfa Romeo team today, and Glenn has actually pulled a blinder in getting them onto his team at the start of the season. Because Gaben is... I don't think he leads the current BBU season, but he's won it 4 times. And Maka, he was a bit of a question mark, but then won Spain. Actually won a race. He's one of 3 race winners this season. So Ferrari have Glenn and Hodge, who are a very good team and work well together, but Glenn and Hodge might actually be drivers number 3 and 4 on their own project team, which is absolutely hilarious, especially considering the fact that Glenn and Hodge can't rotate their junior drivers up to the senior team because Glenn and Hodge finished top 10 last season. So it almost works to their advantage if either of the senior drivers can't make a weekend.
Banter, actually. What I've seen about Maka, they also try to BM or trash talk Sonny a bit, so I like that, you know. Otherwise, it would get really, really boring. A little bit of attitude, which is good. Yeah, you've mentioned the time trials. Obviously, Travis, the fastest one, and dry conditions, optimal settings. His setup, of course, with the Red Bull, 1:14.2, just a little bit ahead of Sonny, who put in a 1:14.7. That's 5/10. That's a lot. Obviously, we haven't seen anything from Calm, which but he's sliding a lot actually. So I don't know if I should get my hopes up.
Yeah, it's really an enigma when it comes to Calm because he could perform really well and deliver in the days of old, or he could just be another retiring driver like he did twice this season. Actually, a great off screen shout from Wilder. We were talking about Gaben. He actually runs 2nd in BBU. Travis, the leader of the VLF1 league, also leads in BBU, so he's got that double threat at the moment.
Imagine it's like in the Travis going for the 2 championship. Then it's gonna be him, the unified amateur F1 champion of the world or whatever. And then you have to challenge him for, I don't know, 1v1 on what track would you think? Imagine you like Travis is your universal F1 champion, right, Cradon?
Hell
Then,
yeah!
then you challenge him on a track time trial, I think, where then the belt just wanders around like the unofficial world championship belt in League of Legends.
Oh, I know it well. Oh, quickly, let's have a look at the results. They aren't too binding. We just look at who's got through. It's all of the top drivers we expected. Obviously, Law and Shadow DNFing do not make it through to Q2. They'll be starting on the grid in the race, but they'll be starting from the back, so they've got time to watch the rest of the battle. Yeah, I really want to see a duel. Like, if you wanted to see a duel on a track, you probably want one like in the real life F1 today, like Hamilton and Verstappen around Saudi Arabia. Some really close track. Monaco would work as well. You don't get overtakes normally in a big race, but in a 1v1 it would be brilliant because one mistake decides everything.
What would the format be, though? Would you actually think like an actual race or timed? I don't know.
It's a tough one because the only neutral one would be a time trial. But I do
Yeah.
like it where you see it in cycling sometimes, where you have like a pursuit and one person chases after the other, or one team chases after another. I'd probably run it both ways and see if one driver can overtake the other one.
What about? Okay, hear me out. Both like Travis and the Challenger, they do time trial in, let's say Monaco, whatever. Okay, they set a time in. They have one shot. Then, I mean, I don't know how realistic this is, but let's say Travis is like 5/10 faster than let's just say Sunny because he's challenging him. And then Travis starts the race, and 5/10 later, Sunny starts the race, and he has to chase Travis.
Do you know the show Gladiators?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
So basically it's the exact thing you've just described. All of the initial events in Gladiators decide points for each of the players, and then the final obstacle course is a head-to-head. It's the same obstacle course for both athletes, both contenders, and then they start at different times based on the points they've accrued. So I want to see some Gladiator style.
Imagine F1 Gladiator. So, if we look at the times, we've seen Charmander and Brandon pretty far behind, but it's probably just, they just wanted to get one time in, don't risk anything, just make it into Q2, and now slowly, warming themselves up, putting a serious time in, and then we can compare them how fast they are in Imola. And Q2 starting, Brandon, our glorious racing director, the first one, obviously. Well, he's not the first one, actually. There's a Red Bull ahead of him, so Sag, Brandon, sorry.
Yeah, unlucky, mate. Yeah, to call him a glorious leader would be a bit like a cult of personality, so we'll not talk about that one anymore. Yeah, it would be cool to see sort of a 1v1 or like an FA Cup for the 16 drivers where they go head-to-head, but that sounds like a weird night of 5 bappers, and I'd take it over the incidents that we've had in recent races.
That is true.
So, as you said, Impress, the drivers have got to take a bit more of a risk now. They can't settle for just any basic time. They've got to get top 10 and classify into Q3.
Glenn's still not connected to the game, I think, so that's just bless Cody's. But to be fair, with Law and Shadow both going out, it's you only have 14 drivers, so one less competitor for the likes of, I think Carlos is down there in between 10 and 15 drivers like him, so just one driver less to worry about, which is good for them. Travis, Sunny, they won't care that much. They will make it into Q3, so it's all good. While we follow Charmander here, curious how fast he's going to be. Just slide it a bit there.
Yeah, Charmander's going to be hopefully really good. He's done Monaco a few times in the wet. He's normally, along with Flyer back in the days of old, he's one of the better wet drivers on the grid, so this would be a fantastic commentator's curse. Yeah, there we go. Fantastic. There we go. He's spun. That was signed, sealed, and delivered by yours truly, Unlucky, mate.
Good job, Cran. The first caster quiz. All good. About the weather, as we mentioned earlier, the quali entirely is gonna be under rainy conditions, but the race itself, we will have Crabben. We will have sunshine.
Yeah, weather going back to front on this one. Oh, I'm just seeing our Twitch chat light up, so we've got Law playing Hextech Mayhem in the background. Great game, by the way. I shouldn't plug it, but it's brilliant. Wilder looking at his second favourite league at the moment. And Whopper obviously will have the inside track on what the weather's going to be. It's going to be more accurate than the preview from practice. And yeah, there's some chance of sideways rain because of a dry setting. That's Cody's for you.
What?
I think he's just memeing on Cody's and saying it looks dry from here, but the rain could be so bad that it's sideways rain. And
don't let BL Barry hear this. How can we meme on code Masters?
Yeah, the Masters is in the title, and to be honest, we probably restarted our computers once in the last 3 months, so it's on us.
True. So, we are filling calm again here. I don't like this horse livery, but we will. Well, Domino with the fastest lap so far, 1:38.5. He was the first one out, but he span out. So, pretty sure this time we'll get beaten sooner, rather sooner than later.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. Hodge has gone even slower somehow. Brandon's also spun out after the Villeneuve complex. So Pyro, who's racing on home turf, the Italian man racing in Emilia Romagna, he's gone top of the table for a moment until Sonny just yeets him out with a 1:26.1. Here come the Alfa Romeos, 1:26.1 also from Gaben, slightly slower. We've got Maka on the case as well, 1:27.2.
A whole second slower than Sonny. Gaben really close. We saw Calm here mowing the lawn. I'm not sure if mowing.
Charmander's gone.
Charmander's gone.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. He's gone just after Aqua Minerale. We'll get a quick view from Something's POV, and Charmander has gone on the left side, so absolutely played with fire on the exit, and it's gone to burn him. So, yeah, not managing to improve on the Spinala time. He's almost certainly going to be out of this Q2.
Yeah, that's actually really bad for him. He put a time in, but that was when he spun around, and now he's crashed out. So no Q3. Very likely no Q3 for Charmander here. While his teammate Travis enjoying the rain, having a nice day, good drive. So far, no crash. And I will make sure not to curse him, but, you know, maybe it's going to happen.
As is tradition.
Exactly. Fastest time for Travis with a 1:25.6. That's almost 4 times faster than Somther. And Com also retired. And he crashed. The middle of the track. And Travis, good reflexes here to dodge him. And that's also Calm one. He put a slightly better time in than Charmander, but still 7.5 seconds off the leaders here, which is not Calm.
And yeah, this is absolutely crazy for 2 reasons. One is obviously with it being a new track, people are much more prone to absolutely being sent sideways by the wet conditions, not being able to adapt well enough. The other one is that if I told you Calm and Charmander were in a race last season, you could almost think they'd finish 1-2, like they're that good. So it absolutely opens up the top positions in qualifying and in Q3, just lets other people able to get through. Crispy is a very good driver. Could you argue that he's podium level? At this point, probably not, but maybe he could get there now.
Maybe, yeah. We see Gaben losing his entire front wing, so he has to nurse it back into the pits. Fortunately for him, he's not out of disqualifying. Just make it back home, man, and get yourself a new front wing.
Yeah, Trav coming in with the 1:25.6, although I think that might have been his existing time. He's really laying down the hammer. He's top of time trial, had the fastest time in Q1 with a 1:25.4. Pyro with a nice little spin on the right, but he's going to be okay for now. Hodge with a nice little spin on the left. We're going to have DJ Casper coming in with the Cha-Cha slide dance steps for our drivers, but Trav's going to get through them all fairly unscathed.
So yeah, Copy making sure that he re-enters the track safely and in a very cool, drifty way. Behind him there's a drive approaching. That's an Alfa Romeo. Carlos on his outlap, the only driver besides Glenn who has, I still think, technical issues, who hasn't set a time yet.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Brandon hasn't really set a time yet. Look at that, 1:52. My nan could walk backwards around this track. A 1:52. That's when you impressed. That's when you and Travis were in season 1 and you wanted to preserve tire life. That's Renault track walk level. I mean,
well, it worked. It worked. I'm not sure if this is the right scenario where you wanna, about your tires, but I don't know. Brandon knows what he's doing. Travis with a new fastest time. 125.5. So
Yeah.
improving slightly a bit. And Carlos invalidated his lap, if I see this correctly.
Yeah, in the meantime, Sonny taking Travis's throne for the moment, 125.4. So very on par with Trav's fastest time in Q1. We know he's capable of this fast time. It's, again, a matter of how much these drivers push their cars. They want to improve, they want to correct the mistakes they're seeing, but they also want to keep their cars alive for the showdown in Q3. So a nice little balance for all our drivers. Trav is comfortably up the top of the field, even if he's not currently P1. Glenn absolutely having a nightmare as he's trying to reconnect, but it doesn't look like the fortune is in his favour today.
Poor Glenn. Technical issues. BL Barry holding him back. Do you think Travis will push for a faster time? Just for the ego boost above Sonny?
I could see Sonny doing it. I think he's the more egotistical driver when it comes to having your name next to a 1. I think Travis would be okay. The danger would be Trav being like close to the bottom of the top 10, so in P8, P9, P10 sort of thing, and being worried about being overtaken at the end of Q2. That's not going to happen. There's a solid, 2 seconds to Pyro and Ronaldinho. P10 at the moment is technically 152 of Brandon, so Carl might have it for now, but it's easily Trav's to hold on. There isn't even a tyre strategy argument. If this were slick conditions, you could argue about trying to keep medium start for the race. Because he's got the wet tyres on, Trav won't have the ego. He'll be fine.
So we see Brandon on his outlap, Carlos on his timed one now, ahead of the Red Bull and Merc here. Let's see if Carlos can stick it or keep his car within the track limits, so he doesn't invalidate again, and then see if he can beat Calm's time to make it into the final stage of qualifying. Other than that, everyone else, or most of them, are in the pits. They're just waiting to see what kind of stuff is going on. Yellow flags.
Yeah, I think that was a slow Red Bull. We're still seeing Carlos go through Sector 3. He lit up a purple Sector 2, which is always a good sign. And he just needs to get his car across the line. It looks solid. He's got about 8 seconds to do it, so he needs a good exit from Ravazza here. He's got his foot down. Just needs to not slip off at this final mild right corner. And he's going to get a 126.6 right next to his teammate Pyro, safely within the top 10 for now. Blaze is going to finish his outlap and start the timer.
So let's keep on Brandon here. See what he's doing. He has to make it. Also for people like Copy and Ronaldinho, they have to go out again. When is can you know when is the latest time they can go out of the pits?
It's always up to everyone's interpretation. I normally add 20 or 30 seconds to the lap time, so going out after 2 minutes would be a risky move.
Okay, so we will see Hodgson's on outlap, Copy's on outlap. We see Ronaldinho and Carlos on track, and we are following Blaze Homewrecker here in the team captain of the Mercedes VL Racing team.
Yeah, I wanted to do a quick thing and say, oh, Glenn's the project captain of Ferrari, he's going to get knocked out. Blaze is the project captain of Mercedes, he's not doing too well. And then I stopped when I realised Trav was the other project captain, and he's absolutely smurfing it so far. So yeah,
There's always an exception, Glenn.
Always an exception. Wait a minute. We've got that's a rule. Blaze coming down to the final set of corners. He's not like setting the world on fire, but he doesn't need to. He just needs to get into that top 10, displace Ronaldinho, and needs the nice exit coming out of Ravazza. Turn 18, sends it home, sends it to the line, hopefully not cutting that right-hander. And it's not enough. It's 4/10 off the top 10.
Not enough. He has to go again. We see Hodgson off track here. Re-entering the attack after the McLaren. So Hodgson tried to improve. He's in danger zone. 140 left of Q2. Brandon has to go again. Well, this could be somewhat of a cooldown lap, just not get too slow, you know. And then he can do another hot lap again. We will see what he's going to do. But from Hodgson all the way down to Brandon, I think these people have to be really, really careful to not get knocked out of Q2.
Yeah, with Glenn out the way, Calm and Charmander having DNF, it is a one-driver knockout situation. So yeah, we get to see 3 drivers as we enter our final minute of Q2. For those that don't know, when the clock hits 0, that's the last point you can start a lap. After that, you will have the current lap to finish, or if you're in the pits, that will be the end of your session. So Ronaldinho is coming towards the end of his lap. He's going to try and improve, and he's 3/10 up, so he starts his final lap now. Pyro is partway round his lap at the moment, and it looks like this will be his final one. Finally, Blaze is 6/10 up. He's coming towards the line. 6/10 of improvement would put him above Ronaldinho, and he does so.
So Ronaldinho, for now, is knocked out, but he obviously has the chance to get revenge here on Brandon, to knock him out. We will see how quick he's going. Yellow flags because of a Mercedes in Sector 1. It's Brandon who spun out. Going back on the track, there's no one in his sight, no one near him, so it's all good. Brandon will not improve his time. And
yep, it's all down to Ronaldinho. 4/10 is the amount he has to improve. That was really close to a corner cut there on the exit of Aqua Minerale coming up to the end of Sector 2. He is on par with his time. He lost time in that Sector 2. At the moment, it's not good enough, and he will be exiting unless he has an absolute barnstorm out of the last few corners. Ravazza will be the make or break between Blaze, the Mercedes project captain, and Ronaldinho, the Aston Martin substitute C2 driver. He's looking for that clean entry, that tight sticking to the apex on both counts, and needs that exit. It's so important on circuits like this. He's going to come to the line, needs 127 dead. He's not got it. He stays 11th, and Blaze qualifies to Q3 at his expense.
So, Ronaldinho not making out alongside Calm and Charmander, which I think are the biggest surprises so far. Glenn, due to technical difficulties, I hope he will fix that for the race. Let's pray for Glenn here. Other than that, then we have Sunny, fastest time. You've had it right. Either Travis didn't try, or he just wasn't fast enough. That also could have been the possibility. Sunny and Travis really close, and then 5/10 away. Maka and Somther. Another small gap for Gaben, Carlos, Crispy, and then it's Hodgson, Copy, and as said, Brandon making it as the last driver into the final stage of qualifying.
Yeah, Sunny's going to be our resident Hodgson for the end of Q2 and just go into the pits to end the session rather than cross the line. Love it, gets another 20 seconds out of the way. Yeah, we see Sunny and Trav continuing their battle. We also get a nice look at the drivers who are in the sidelines. I said Ronaldinho was 4th on time trial. So far, I haven't seen the evidence that he's transferred this time into the wet conditions, but I really like the way Alfa Romeo are performing. They're nice, they're consistent. Even bringing his BBU form over. And Somther has so far flown under the radar in this commentary. He's got 126. He was pretty good in the Monaco races that weren't counted. He's doing really well with pace so far in that second Merc seat. And quite fortunately for Brandon, because of Ronaldinho's slow pace, both Mercs will make it into Q3. We'll see both McLarens as well, both Alfa Romeos. And then after that, we've got Sunny, the Aston Martin of Sunny, the Red Bull of Trav, the Williams of Crispy, and the Ferrari of Bodgson. Those are our 10 drivers for Q3.
Scott Bodgson. So now it all comes down. Credden, do you know? Do you want to be on the inside or the outside of turn 1? Like, would you want to start as P1 or P2 preferably? Obviously, the further up you are, right, it's obviously going to be better. But for the first 10, we all know how VL races are going to go, and sometimes even a real life racing is going that way. Turn 1 shenanigans, and when you're on the outside, you're sometimes not having the best side of potential crashes.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, to be honest, partly because we haven't raced Emilia as VLF1 before. Also because turn 1 is only a really slight corner at the end of Variante Bassa to the right, which means that 2 cars driving side by side, they can go too wide through that complex in the dry, which is what they'll be doing for the race. So really it becomes about positioning for Tamburello, which is corner 2, and that is a left-hand corner. So I can see the P1 driver, who I think starts on the right on the outside, I can see the P1 driver losing out to the P2 driver in just getting a better line on the inside of Tamburello.
Well, yeah, the turn 2 is a left, but it's gonna go. It's gonna be a right turn after turn 2, right? So, if you carry enough speed off, if you're fast enough, if you have track position, then you could be on the inside for turn 3. Obviously, as you said, turn 1 is not really a proper turn, so the slipstream may be a factor for the start of the race. So that's gonna probably benefit everyone behind the race leader or the starter. So
Yeah, well said.
Q3, we see a lot of cars. Basically, everyone but Alfa Romeo out on track, and everyone trying to get a time in. They will have enough time for that. Use the wet tires. You don't have to care. You will be put on. But I think, yeah, on the dry tires, obviously. We will see what the drivers will gonna choose. But for now, let's focus on Q3 here. Following something, as you said, a bit under the radar. I can see something doing an upset in the race later on.
Yeah, I'll have to check his time again. It was about 1:26 dead, which was a good 5-6 tenths off the leader, Sonny. So yeah, he's not got the elite pace, but he's got the consistency. He's put a few good laps together, and in these sorts of conditions, you just need that one eccentric high-level lap performance, and it'll get you pole. In the race, another thing matters, but right now it's the showdown, and a single lap can put you to the front of the grid.
Exactly. Who has elite pace? We all know is Travis here, who we're following around right now. Let's see. He will battle with Sunny for P1. Obviously, we've seen them in the entire season and in Q1 and Q2 as well. It's going to be very, very interesting. Travis trying to break Sunny's hot streak. Sunny's been in a good form as of lately, but Travis, as we all know, an all-time great and maybe the potential universal F1 champion. Great.
Yeah, and what's amazing about that is Trav hasn't actually won a race this season. Sonny's won 2, Macca's won 1, and Travis's teammate Charmander has won 1. So Travis, for all his sitting at the top of the championship, spearheading his constructor, Red Bull being at the top of the Constructors' Championship, and captaining his team, he still needs that dub. He hasn't won in, I think, 18 races is the number he said. So he's it's about time he showed us that he can get to another level. He was second in the first Monaco race that was called off. He was first in the second Monaco race that was called off. So he has the ability to get to the front. He has the pace. I think the fact that he hasn't raced in so long is causing him to go into his 100-lap pace mode.
Well, yeah, and as for the season, consistency is key. Sonny wasn't able to beat Travis time, by the way. So if you consistently get P2 right, you will never get a win, obviously, but you're gonna be pretty high in the standings, which I would take. Obviously, it's easy for me to say. I have actually, unlike Ukraine, never won a VR race.
Yeah, brains work really well, don't they? I mean, what?
If we don't count the 5 flappers, but I think we should, cause that's the real thing.
Yeah, it's like the duel. It's like gladiators. That's where you really show your skill and start battling.
Exactly.
Like, long races are all Hamilton. The 5 races are the Verstappen. Like that's where you get your elbows out. We've seen a few drivers just going really slowly and having a few awkward sections. Pyro at the moment, Macca earlier on, who's going through the first part of the track, going up to the Tosa hairpin. We haven't seen either Alfa Romeo set a time yet, and they were really solid performers in Q2. Macca just lighting the first sector purple. Gaben on an invalid lap at the moment, but because they're wet tyres, I'm sure those will carry him through. Travis, 125.1, breaking new ground in his pursuit of speed here.
Crazy. Will we see some 124?
I wouldn't put it past Trav at the moment. The thing that makes me think that is the fact that so many of his laps have been about that level. It's not like he's just randomly hit that time by just putting a few good corners together. He's consistently nailed that time, low 125s, throughout Q1 and Q2. So I feel like as well as doing 100 laps, I think he's done another 100 on the wet conditions, and he's just taking all of the risks now because he can afford to.
Brandon obviously not happy. Without setting a time, he went back into the pits. Not sure, maybe resetting his focus to get a good time in. Gaben, Maka set at 1:26.1, exact same time as Carlos, but since Carlos put that time out earlier, he's gonna be put in P4 as of now, while Maka here P5.
Yeah, Carlos actually subscribed to the VL Twitch stream, so that means that he's elevated above the other driver when there's a tie break. So yeah, great move, Carlos. Crispy also thrown under the radar. He got a 1:25.7, so that's his best time of the whole qualifying so far, and it's within touching distance of the times that would have won Q1 and Q2, that 1:25.4. So see if he holds it down. I think Sonny's got a lot more to show us in the remaining 5 minutes, though.
Yeah, definitely. Brandon now out on track again. He's on his out lap. Gonna watch him closely as well. There's yellow flag.
Ferrari setting up for a tow. We love it. Sonny going through the finish line, and he gets back into P2 where he belongs.
Exactly. That's what we want. That's what we expected from the Finnish racing driver here. Still 2 tenths off of Travis, so we'll see. Hodgson invalidated his lap. Scott Bodson, what are you doing, my man? So he has to go another round to improve, because I don't think he wants to start from P7.
Yeah, P7 is not what Hodge wants, to be honest, because the league has become so stacked through the top and mid of the table in the last season and a half. Hodge in Season 1 was fighting for the championship. He was contesting a season-long battle with Flyer. He's scored wins in future seasons. I think he's won Austria in Season 2. He's fought for podiums at so many tracks. He's also claimed wins he didn't have, like China in Season 2, but everyone knows about that one already. China is Hodgson's win. But yeah, right now, I think you'd struggle to call him a top 5 driver on this track, despite his prestige, despite his skill, despite the fact he can hit those fast times. Trav and Sonny, obviously. I'd put Crispy and Sontha above Hodge as well. Maka and Gaben are making good cases. Ronaldinho hasn't shown me enough right now, although I kind of want to give some leeway to Con just because of his amazing history. So Hodge really forced out of his previous prancing horse territory.
Do you think that could be somewhat of a mental block or problem, even? Because if you're used to, this is the 5th season of VL racing, if you're used to, let's say, 4.5 seasons of fighting for the championship, fighting for wins, getting the wins, especially in China, because that's your track, and then you're stuck in, what, no man's land, like 7th, 8th, or even worse? Like, do you think that's gonna take a big hit on someone's motivation?
I would say so, Alex, and yeah, that like someone's going to be demoralized if they have that swing. And when I've seen drivers react to that, it's really a fight or flight thing, as we see Brandon race to set his first valid lap time. Drivers will either be really motivated and do the Trav 100 lap challenge and try and fight back to where they think they belong, or they'll be fairly demotivated and just sort of join a casting desk. So those are really 2 options.
Oh, so you got the hint. Oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah, message from production came through. So yeah, you're joining me as well. It says a lot.
It says a lot, man. But the thing is, I'm not washed up because I've never been good in the first place.
Here in the rain, everyone's washed up. Yeah, Blaze in the pits. He's not recorded a time in Q3. Depending on our clock, which we'll see when this yellow flag fades away,
Blaze
has about 10 seconds to leave the pits.
There's some debris from an Alfa Romeo here, from Maka, who, Gaben,
yeah, he's down a wing at the moment.
Yeah.
We're not even talking end plates, just the whole shebang.
That's the whole bang.
That's going to be the end of his qualifying because he has to go back into the pits and he won't have time to leave again. But in all the chaos, he set a 1:25.2, which is an absolute masterpiece of a time. Would have won Q1 or Q2, and has made Sonny look a bit rubbish. Travis is having none of that, and he's done exactly what you said earlier, broken the 124 high time.
So it's Gaben just 600th off Travis, and then Travis Lamau, no, broke into the 124, and now it's all down to Sonny to get the P1 and Brennan to get a proper lap in.
Yeah,
to not exceed.
There are two kinds of people: race for P1 or race to put a time on the board.
Yeah.
We are seeing both ends of that battle right now. Trav's got to be really happy with what he's done. He's just put the Monopoly no sign down to the rest of the field. Gaben, obviously, because of the missing wing, is not going to participate further. Sonny has 50 seconds to get to the line. He's going to set one more lap in this session. Our boy Crispy is just ahead of him on Ravazza, looks to have a full wing, and is going to set a time this lap. I'm quietly confident he's coming up to there. 125.2, great time from him. Not quite breaking Trav, but he's forced Gaben and Sonny all the way, no mean feat.
Yeah, Carlos invalidated his lap, so he still has another shot. He's coming around, but Crispy, my man, very, very good from the AlphaTauri. Here. P2, as for now, we have to look what Sonny is going to do about that. Travis, with his last lap, maybe can improve his time, but we'll see. Brandon now, he is done.
Yeah, he's done in more ways than one. I can hear the table smash from here. He's not made it to the line. He didn't have time to start the lap because of the 12-minute time limit. So he's just going to have to save his energy for the dry conditions of the race. It will be night and day. He'll have to readjust to full slick conditions. Meanwhile, while we get to the last few times that could come in, Crispy on an invalid lap right now. Trav was down the last time I checked. Sonny is 2 tenths ahead, which could put him into P3, but he's just cut on that dog leg coming towards Ravazza. So he's not going to improve. Mac is invalidated. Carlos is looking alright. He's 2 tenths up, which could put him into P5. Sontha's out. Hodge is out. And let's see how our homeboy Pyro's doing. He's 2 tenths up, but it doesn't look like he could break P8. Let's look at them as they arrive towards the line. Sonny's invalidated. Crispy's invalidated. It's pretty much going to be Pyro in the chase.
So Carlos coming around. We will see what his time is gonna be, and he makes it to P5. Jumps ahead of Maka, right behind Sonny, who's only in P4 because he invalidated his lap. He cut the chicane, and that's everyone done.
Yeah, that's all she wrote. Trav just absolutely not letting go of his fast times. You can now see with hindsight how much he was holding back in Q1 and Q2, not taking those risks. What a guy. Crispy and Gaben have to be heralded because they weren't in the chase in Q1 and Q2, but when it came to risk-taking moment, they just jumped straight in and set blistering times. Sonny is consistent across all 3 qualifying sessions. As much as it's a meme to say he goes for every move, he set very good consistent times across all of qualifying. He just didn't have what it took when it come to contest on Q3.
Yeah, exactly. So now we have our grid, Credden. Any predictions? Any upsets? Well, let's do the 90-50-10, right? What's your 90-50-10 predictions? What's that's gonna be?
Okay, I kind of love that. I have to think about that because I often balance the 90 with the 10 because one of them happens. Let's just quickly make sure all the tire info gets made onto the screen. Okay, so 90, something that's really probably going to happen. So I think my 90 prediction is Trav and Sonny are both going to end up on the podium. That's almost guaranteed to happen. We could still see a DNF. 50 is going to be good because we've got a few drivers that could perform well, a few that could go off the rails. I think 50, probably a meme one, would be Alfa Romeo outscoring Ferrari because we've seen Gabriel and Maka performing well, but maybe less consistently with qualifying. That's my 50. For 10, something that's really not likely to happen, but just could go ahead. I want to put a driver that's fairly low on the scoreboard. So who went out in Q1? It was Law and Shadow. Yeah. So I'm gonna say the 10% is Law and Shadow both in the top 5.
Both on the top. both in the top 5. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
So yeah, what was that? 50 was Alfa Romeo over Ferrari. 10 was Law and Shadow in the top 5. 90 is going to be Trav and Sunny. Did I say podium or top 5? One of those.
Top 5. Top 5.
There we go. What about yourself, Alex? Anything spicy for you?
90, I think Travis is gonna get his first official win. 50, Calm and Charmander are going to top 5, and my 10 something's gonna be P2.
Okay, I love it. P2 is a nice one as well because it means that they do well, but not the ultimate. Okay, hopefully, let's cross our fingers and pray to Barry BL for no issues as we start our formation lap. We might have to pray to Barry BBU. They've had a few races go fairly smoothly, and there we go. We've got a nice disconnection screen. So we'll see what happens. We'll get updates. We did this in qualifying, by the way. So we got into qualifying after a while after resetting up the league lobby. We hope the same happens for race. And to be honest, that might be a saving grace for people like Glenn who are having technical issues in getting into the lobby. So we'll wait to find out. Okay. Impress, is there anything else you think could be really spicy about this race?
Let's see. I want to see some hate-love relationship between Glenn and Brandon. Other than that, yeah. Not sure. Let's just give entertaining, but please more mature racing than in real life. So no deliberate crashing in and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
true.
I'm
sorry,
just
Alex.
forward.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there. We're going to go live to an interview from the pit lane.
Thanks, Credden. I'm here at the paddock, standing here with Carlos. Carlos, how did the qualifying go?
Yeah, I expected it to be a bit better, but the race is what's matter. Yeah, so I focus on the race.
Okay, back to you, Credden and Impressed.
To be honest, thank you for that interview, by the way. To be honest, I thought Carlos was really hard on himself there. He got P5 in the final qualifying session, so it impresses. You've got the inside track on Carlos. Is he hinting at even greater performance?
Maybe he's gonna look for some upset. I don't know. Confidence crucial in racing, and I think everything you do in life, right? If you're not confident, just don't do it at all. So seeing someone who, well, we all assume wouldn't be our first choice for a win or podium finish. Going out there, he finishes P5 for qualifying, and then he goes out there and says, "Well, I want something more. I respect that." So yeah, thanks, Impress, for the interview. Oh wait, that's me. Okay.
Yeah, we sort of released the cloning technology a bit earlier. Apologies. What we can do is we're going to go for a quick break. We'll get in touch with the organisers of the race. We hopefully will be getting ahead. We're just having a few people running between the steward's office, sending mails to Michael Massey. So keep watching. We'll be back in a few minutes with the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Cheers, Bubs. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back and we're glad to have you all with us. You just saw qualifying, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you're just joining us. Live on twitch.tv/official Valence League tonight is going to be round 5 of our 5th season of VLF1. This is the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. And my name's Cradden. With me, as with qualifying, is Impress. How are you doing?
Still doing great. Was a lovely qualifying. We've seen some upsets. Calm, and I was about to say Cradden. Well, you didn't. Well, you made Q3, unlike Calm and Charmander. So congratulations, Mr. Cradden. But yeah, was wet conditions. So we have a dry race now. Hopefully, maybe. In seriousness, I don't know. Cody says it's gonna have sunshine, but sometimes weather is not predictable, and that's the beauty of it. Just like racing. So I'm doing great. I'm doing great so far. First
Yeah.
cast of F1 and first cast alongside you in a long time.
Massive time, Pete.
Massive.
So yeah, I look forward to more, but it's okay. We'll get into our own project team or League of Legends team soon enough, I'm sure, Alex. Yeah. For those of us watching, we're in the studio at the moment. Our teams are in their paddocks. They're preparing the setups. Because of parc fermé conditions, a lot of the setup options have been frozen since the start of qualifying. So the big challenge has been finding a setup which is locked that balanced the wet conditions of qualifying with the dry conditions of the upcoming race. The things that they can still change, limited adjustments to the differential and the front wing, are being made alongside the setting of fuel capacity for the upcoming race, alongside setting what tyres they want. Because it was wet qualifying, our drivers have free choice of tyres at the start of the race. Because it's similar, I don't really know the tyre strategies. We'll see what our drivers go with. Normally for 50% it's a one-stop, whether it's medium hard, soft medium. We'll see a lot of evolving strategy, and what the drivers put on for lap one is going to tell us a lot.
I don't think. Do you think two stops are gonna be a viable option? I doubt it, but we've never raced on it, so everything could happen. Yeah, I think one stop with medium hard or hard into medium, is gonna be the strategy to go. So Ferrari is definitely not going to do that because the past history has taught us that sometimes Ferrari drivers, not all of them, certain Ferrari drivers tend to do experimental racing strategies. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think a common phrase in the Ferrari garage is il miglio tempo per rientrare ai boxe il secondo giro di safety car, which translates as the best time to pit is the second lap of the safety car. Hodgson follows this strategy to the wire every race.
The Ferrari DNA. Yeah. Travis agrees. Thanks. So if Travis agrees, everything is right. We are right.
Rumor has it that Trav actually got in a little practice session of 100 laps between qualifying and the race, so he's just on top form right now. We had our 90, 50, 10s before the race. We'll shortly be taking you to our formation lap. We've got, I believe, 16 drivers if we continue from our qualifying session. They'll be lining up, going once around the track to warm up their tyres, get used to the traction that wasn't there at all during qualifying, and then get ready for some racing.
And there we are, formation lap. Travis leading the way, but ahead of Crispy and Gaben, which I actually didn't predict. I thought Sonny would make it into the front row. Carlos in P5. Is that his best qualifying this season? It sounds like it. He is the only guy from the top 8 who starts on the mediums. His teammate Copy, P9, as well as the medium tires, and Brandon and Blaze. I don't want to set a time in Q3 home wrecker on the hard compound, just like Calm, Charman, and Glenn, Ronaldinho, Shadowhopper, and Law as well on the soft tires. So maybe, different tire strategy than what we expected, Kreben.
Indeed.
Or could you do soft medium? I'm not sure. Travis for sure could pull it off.
Yeah, Trav could probably go around on like 4 screws that you could find under a desk and just keep them on to the end of the race. But for mortal tyre strategies, we just saw a pop-up from Jeff Bezos in AWS at the bottom of the screen, and he's advised that soft hard or medium hard is the optimal strategy for this track. And it sort of works for our drivers who've set the hard tyres. It means, assuming there is no safety car, they get to do the long stint first and then adapt to the conditions. So Blaze, Calm, Charmander, Glenn, incidentally some of the longest serving names on our VLF1 grid, are going for the long first stint. The downside of that, of course, is if a safety car comes out quickly, if drivers have to pit quickly, they're going to have to change from the hard tyres before they can get that advantage of having done a long stint on them. So yeah, a nice balance. The front of the grid is all soft tyres, and I'm expecting them to just tear away from the rest of the pack. One thing that I'd like to ask you in advance of our production, Impress, is who do you want to watch for the start of the race? We're going to be seeing a lot of drivers. Who do you want to focus on?
So probably somewhere in the middle, right? Maybe like Hodge and Copy or Brandon. I would say maybe Brandon actually. He's right down in the middle. We know he loves some physical contact in racing and in real life. And let's go.
Yeah, lights are out and we're away. Trav and Crispy leading us off. Sunny going for a move down the right already. We've got Grass being kicked up as our grid moves too wide. That's Variante Bassa. That's a quick turn 1, but everyone has to slow down for the right-hander turn 2. That's a bit of collision already with the Aston Martin. 2 McLarens holding steady in midfield. Shadowhopper's Alpine is weaving at the back. And we've got drivers settling into their groove. No one critically off the track, but there were a few pushes towards midfield as they went into Tamburello turn 2, Impress.
Yeah, Carlos down to P10. He started P5. He lost a lot of position there on his medium tires. Even Copy, his teammate, ahead of him. Calm as well, P9 now. Travis Crispy Sunny was able to sneak into P3. They're all on soft tires there, so they have to make this soft compound work. A little bit of wobbly here from the Alfa Romeo guys. But Travis still leads the way. Yellow flag in Sector 2.
Yeah, Whopper's gone and Carlos as well. They've both been collected. So they actually went off at the end of Aqua Minerale. They're both going to recover onto the track. But yeah, that's horrible for both of them.
That is really, really horrible. Maybe there's some damage as well. So you have to pit for Carlos, put the hard tires on. I think Shadow started on the hards. So that's gonna hurt him if he has damage. We see Calm overtaken by Pyro-Fire.
Oh, this is really close between the both of them. This is where we had some incidents in the real-life race. Calm really holding half the track well there. Pyro has to switch behind, making the wise decision. Pyro going to get a nice run on Calm at the switch pack, but Calm is going to hold the inside as they go through to Variante Villeneuve. And then as they approach the hairpin, it's normally a spot to overtake, but Calm has clearly got his nose in front there.
Let's keep in mind, next lap, DS is gonna be enabled, and Copy is on the mediums, while Calm is on the harder compound, so maybe he can use that tire advantage to make it work, get past Calm. Calm obviously is gonna play the long game here, and maybe get back at him later in the race. We see Sunny here, really, really close on Crispy. Travis already almost a second away. Yeah, that's the second. So he's gonna have a nice and enjoyable life. Calm now on the back of his best friend Scott Bodson. Those two, they just love each other. That's why they're close, you know.
For a solid now 4 seasons now, Calm and Hodge have been trying to get in each other's heads. So ever since Calm reached double figures on his age and managed to eat a whole birthday cake in one go. But yeah, Calm is really herring it down towards Hodge. This is a really long run from the end of Ravazza all the way down the home straight, past Variante Bassa turn 1 and all the way into Tamburello. It's a really nice opportunity to overtake. You've got the DRS in there when we start the next lap. There's so many overtake opportunities that we're going to see this race. Hodge is over to the left, he weaves, and Calm takes advantage, easily gaining the position.
Easy, and Calm's already gone. He's on the hard compounds. Hodge cannot make the soft tires work, and he's not gonna like it. Brandon, congratulations, you're the first one. 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, probably cutting corners. So yeah, he has to make that time up. Copy, as I said, he's now within 1 second, almost around 1 second. He has to get into the DRS window. Not a good exit from Calm here, so Hodge already on his back, and I think Hodge is trying to locate. Nope, he's backing off wisely. No collision.
Yeah, really nice
those two lovebirds
between these guys. We've got a bit of an interval stack issue, so hopefully we'll get that resolved as we pass a few more time gates. But Trav is really holding things down in front. He's got a solid 1 second lead on Crispy, who's done the same on Sunny. So the gaps are opening up at the front. Of course, with the DRS, you have to stay within 1 second to make it count. So that will be the goal of our drivers. Somther already having the run on Maka, moves around the outside on the way into Tamburello. Will it stick? It will. Somther getting clearly ahead before the braking zone. So he's gonna take the
Maka
lead.
strike back. No, a bit too slow here. So he just has to stick with him, and then at the DRS straight maybe overtake or retake his position rather. Maka really close here, and Calm also getting some warnings here, while Hodgson battling with Charmander.
Yeah, Hodge already lost a position to Calm. We saw him then lose one to Pyro on the main straight. He just had a close battle with Charmander. Of course, that rivalry has been strong in the last few seasons. I feel like Hodge has accidentally had to switch to keyboard or something this race, because you can normally see the fine control he has. It hasn't seemed to be there. We've got Calm sliding off the track. I'm not sure if a McLaren was there as well, but that is Calm's Achilles heel. He doesn't like the handling model, and it's bit him in the backside.
And now he's all the way down to P14 with a 3-second time penalty. Carlos just trying to. No, he cannot do it. But she's gonna stick around with him. And Calm again lost traction. And Carlos as well spins around. Had no chance of avoiding Calm. So that's gonna sting him a bit. And Calm just, well, that's how you defend the position, I guess. The Verstappen way of defending, Creden.
Absolutely, we've got this is the real battle, Calm and Carlos at the back.
For P14.
Yeah, we've also got Lauren Glenn being pretty close, but that I am lying. There are some really close battles at the front, especially when you consider the DRS run all the way up the home straight. Sunny tried to make a move on Crispy, but held firm. Equally, Maka tried to gain revenge for Somtha's attack on him the previous lap, but Somtha really keeping it solid on the approach to Villeneuve, eking out that gap. It's when the gap is below 1 second, we are going to see these sorts of fights.
Well, really, Maka came really close. In the meantime, Calm, he cannot control his car. I think...
Ronaldinho, is it coming? This could be bad.
Did Brandon put on real cars, like, real car handling? Look at Calm, he's spinning again. It's like he's driving an actual Haas F1 car. What is going on here? P16 for my man here. Crazy.
Yeah, the most successful VLF1 driver in history. Looks like he's taken a load of Class A narcotics, put his controller in with backwards inputs, set the dead zone to 600 out of 100, and then just done it while playing Dance Dance Revolution. This is such a departure from what I've expected on Calm. And yeah. I don't think this is going to help his enthusiasm for the current game and season.
I don't think so either. Law was able to overtake Brandon, now P10, now in the points. In the meantime, what I wanted to say, Sonny, we've had a brief look at him. He overtook Gaben at turn 1, but since then, he's just stuck behind Crispy, not able to get into P2 and making a run on Travis, who's comfortably, but not too far ahead of the others. Travis, could you imagine that? Lap 6 and Travis is lapping Calm.
You could not write this stuff, Alex. And yeah, Trav's had it his own way so far, but he's only just breaking the second barrier. He's playing with the DRS threshold. And I think Calm could actually come to Trav's rescue here if Calm provides DRS for Trav at a crucial point. This is where we start seeing runs of drivers onto others. Crispy here has DRS, but Sunny has the closing speed. Sunny looking for the inside, has the position to do it. We'll see if he outbreaks him and absolutely sends that into the corner. Sunny has him, and the switchback is not an opportunity. Similarly, Maka is going to overtake Somtha on the way through.
As well as Hodgson battling there with Charmander, we just seen it live on stream, while Ronaldinho gets another 3-second time penalty. Somtha with Maka here, they come really close, they touch a little bit. Somtha's not forced too wide on track. Lovely angle here, but Somtha just sticking his nose through and is P5, splitting both the Alfa Romeos while he's heading into yellow flag territory.
Yeah, this is real cuddle moment stuff from a lot of our drivers. Somtha and Maka, I feel like that's got some real venom to it compared to some of the others. Both getting their elbows out on the way through turns 4 and 5. Yeah, Maka now within half a second, and this pattern's going to continue for a long while, I'm sure. Similar paces in qualifying, transferring to the dry conditions of the race. Sunny and Crispy keeping up their train conditions in P2 and P3. Trav not able to get the clean breakaway. This won't be a processional race for him as we approach the quarterway stage in this Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We've got Hodge and Charmander really close, and they are following Pyro in this train as they get around the regatta.
Sonny and Travis.
Tell me more.
He just overtook Travis on the main straight with the DRS, and now Sonny's in the lead, 4 tenths ahead of Travis. I'm not sure what was going on there. Travis lost a lot of pace, considering he was like 1 second ahead of Crispy 1.5 laps earlier. We see Maka on stream spinning around, there are cars approaching behind him, so he has to be careful. But yeah, that's an interesting picture up front there.
Hodge just absolutely nosed his car off the road there.
That
and it looks like a retirement. He's gone. And Maka's gone as well. That's a massive blow for Project Ferrari. They've lost half of their 4-man complement on lap 8, and that's a safety car.
That is indeed a safety car. What is going on? They just lost controls. Both, like the Alpha and the Ferrari car, just simultaneously heading into the walls. And now, what are you doing? Do you actually maybe... Is it too early, Crabben, to pit here for hards? Wait, especially when you're on the soft compound.
It's a really tough one, Impress. I think switching to hards is optimal. They can probably do about 22, 23 laps. When we looked at the preview, it suggested changing from softs onto hards around lap 10, lap 11, leaving 21 in the running. So I do think our top drivers, they'll be pitting for hards right now. Let's see if that is proven. Sunny's in the box, Crispy's in the box. Yeah, it's happening. Art is becoming life. Sunny and Trav are going on the hard
really close, really close.
As well. Crispy, and let's see what order they leave the pits in, because this is track position for the restart. We do have Sunny emerging first, which is amazing. Trav behind him. Crispy, Gaben, and Somtha are going to be in that train. Blaze is just going to run past them for now because he was already on the hard tyres, and Blaze takes the race lead.
We memed on him in qualifying, and now he's leading the race. He's following the safety car, a lovely red safety car, by the way. Alex went onto the soft tires, so he has to make another pit. He started on the hards, if I remember correctly. So mediums probably weren't an option for the remainder of this race here. Carlos on the hards is gonna finish the race on these tires. Ronaldinho, let's see what he's going to put on. He can put on the hards as well. Yep, the white stripes. And yeah, so everyone but Charmander on the hard compound.
Yeah, Charmander really feeling awkward right now. Of course, he couldn't switch onto a hard compound because he was already wearing it when he went into the box. Blaze and Glenn are our 1 and 2 position drivers at the moment. Lap 9. You couldn't write it. There's probably a long compound German word that would describe the situation at the moment, with the 2 drivers just being up front and just the tantalizing prospect of battles ahead.
There's not a word for that. There has to be one. There should be one. I can't think of one spontaneously, but it's lovely, isn't it? Our 2 lovebirds, P1, P2, and I can for sure see them having some contact heading into turn 2, turn 3.
Yeah, if you think of their mental state at the moment, Glenn's just lost 2 of his drivers who are just being angry in his call, probably. Blaze has they got a time penalty and is effectively track position behind everyone else, and they've both made suboptimal tyre decisions, so they're both going to be raring to get any advantage they can. Glenn certainly insert your own 10 car length meme here as he trails a bit behind Blaze. When the safety car comes in, I didn't count the start of it. It might be this lap, it might be the next one, because the field is still fragmented. Yeah. Blaze is going to have the restart in his hands, and all of the questions you asked me during qualifying about whether P1 or P2 has the advantage coming into the start of this race are going to be revisited.
Yeah, we will definitely have a closer look. I would like to follow both Glenn and Sonny into the safety car restart, and afterwards we'll see Calm still a bit off here, so he has to catch up to the rest of the pack. Ronaldinho almost making it there. So not sure if safety car is gonna come in this round. I don't think so. But yeah, other than that, let's revisit. We're Hodgson and Maka out. Other than that, Carlos, a big loser from the early stage of this race. He started very promising in P5 and now down P12. Other than that, Sunny ahead of Travis. So not sure what was going on there. But Travis will have a run at him later on. And other than that, it's gonna be very exciting. Here we see the entire pack. Calm will have another lap, I think, to catch up, and then it's gonna be exciting times.
It's going to be a highway to the danger zone. Yeah, Blaze and Glenn, for those who aren't familiar with tyre strategy or haven't seen the start of this race, Blaze and Glenn are currently in our first two positions, but they started on the hard tyre compound tyres that they are currently using. So that means that they have to switch, and of course they have to switch as well because their current tyres don't match the remaining length of the race. So that means that Sunny, Trav, Crispy, Gabe, and Somther and Pyro, who are the 6 drivers immediately behind them, and can finish the race on their current set of tyres, they're basically going to leapfrog them whenever Blaze and Glenn go into the pits. So although you might see Blaze and Glenn on the front row at the moment, Sunny is what we'd call net P1. He's going to get into the lead when the strategy resolves itself.
Yeah, definitely. But you can bet on Brandon not making it an easier time for neither Glenn or Sunny to overtake him. Because, personal feelings might be an air factor here. So Brandon will do his best to defend position. We see Calm coming out of pits for the softs.
He was on the mediums, so I think his play there is to go 2 sets of softs to the end, if it wasn't already to delay the safety car. By the way, both Blaze and Glenn have a horse in this race. Blaze's Mercedes teammate Somther is in the chasing pack. Glenn's project teammate Gaben is in the chasing pack. So both our top 2 drivers have an incentive not only to race each other, but to back up Sunny, Trav, and Crispy and stop that overtake from happening. When that happens, I think they're just going to move aside and let Gaben and Somther through, which should be hilarious because Glenn then wants to stop Somther, Blaze wants to stop Gaben, and it's going to be a brilliant case of vice versa. We get race controls info that the safety car is going to be in this lap. So, Alex, talk us through everything going up to the restart.
Okay, let's go. We see Calm catching up while Brandon controlling the pack. He will make his best to find the right time window. He's gonna slow down and then find the window to speed up. So maybe he can catch Glenn, Sunny, Trav, and Crispy sleeping. They are heading down now. Last bit of check the main straight, and we'll see Brandon now accelerating, and it's on. Sunny already very, very close to Glenn. He's gonna be on the inside of turn 1 of Variante Tamburello, as you beautifully said it. And Sunny overtaking Glenn. That was way too easy for especially Travis' liking. Other than that, no major crashes so far. Calm overtook Rodinho in the back. Other than that, I don't see any movements. And while I say that, Calm overtakes Carlos. Law and Shadow have a little bit of fighting going on, and there's a yellow flag because I think Shadow spun around and he lost his front wing. Sunny now back in P1. He's fighting with Brandon.
Yeah, this could be good.
Fiercely. Look at him, that touch wheels a little bit, and Sunny coming ahead of out of this battle here.
Yeah, that was contact there, and I don't know how much Blaze wanted the 1v1, but he's backed out of it. Partially pace, partially harder tyres, and it goes back to
Crispy! Crispy touched Travis's rear, and now he's spun around and is all the way down to P13. That is not what Travis wanted to see, or what Crispy rather wanted to see. While everyone else just moves up. Yeah, Crispy came way too close to Travis here in this corner, and Travis, had no chance, no option. No space to move around.
Meanwhile, we're going to see Glenn try and make a run on Blaze. No DRS at this point, so it's just braking and faith. Trav not able to get the run on Glenn, who is closely following behind Blaze. On the hard tyres, of course, so pace is slower, but Trav has the pace, he has the fresher tyres, he's able to try and get any sort of advantage he can. Shadow obviously left the track, he went into the pits. Karma's fought his way up to 8th, which is a lot better than can be said for the first part of the race.
Yeah, but Travis has to get on going, Credden. Like, you see Sonny already making a little bit of gap here. While, he makes a little bit of gap, but then gets a 3-second time penalty, so doesn't matter.
Hashtag not worth.
Calm and Charmander touching. A little bit here.
Calm's gone. And that's a retirement. Calm has collided with the wall. Terminally, his car is done. We have 13 drivers remaining. And that is going to be the second safety car coming out lap 13. Now, as with the last one, everyone's mind should immediately think to what is the play. And we don't have the history of Imola to draw upon. You've just got to look at the magic numbers, as I call them, the estimated tyre lives. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of our drivers pitting and going for mediums, but everyone who's just gone onto the hard tyres really wants to get their money's worth. Blaze and Glenn are...
Travis is going in. I think Brandon and Glenn have to go in, but they're staying out, as far as I can see.
Glenn's in, Brandon's out.
Glenn's in, okay. I think Ferrari, for once, made the right choice, but we will see that later on the rest. Glenn on the mediums. Everyone who is in the pits now will go onto the medium tires. Not sure why Brandon, he's on 13 laps old hards. Could have easily went in. Obviously he loses track position, but what are you gonna do? Try to defend against Travis, who's on fresh mediums, while you're on like 13 lap old hards? I don't know if you can do that.
The real tech, I think, here is Blaze is... So there's two cases here. Depends how you feel about Brandon. So either he's misjudged it and he's stayed on the longer tyres and he's left himself in a bad position with slower tyres and hasn't made his tyre life optimal. Or he's hoping for a third safety car about lap 22, 23, at which point he'll have used his hard tyres perfectly and has the best track position to change to a final set of softs. So yeah, principle of charity fully being applied. We now see the position of the drivers here divide into two clean camps. The top 7 are all on the hard tyres and have not boxed. The bottom 6 have just changed to fresh mediums, and that includes Crispy from Williams, Shadowhopper from Alpine, Law in AlphaTauri, Glenn in Ferrari, and our 2 Red Bull boys, who are really flying under the radar at the moment, but Red Bull are top of the Constructors' Championship for a reason. They know how to get those high finishes when it matters.
Yeah, definitely. So I expect a lot of from Travis and Charmander. In the medium compounds, they will make it until the end of the race. They will try, especially Travis, because he has to get back to Sonny. Try to do a lot of overtakes. Don't crash in a very short amount of time. While Charmander obviously trying to score points. So Red Bull can increase the gap between them and who's second in constructors. Do you have it by hand here, Credden?
I do, yeah. So constructor standings, we've got Ferrari in second place on 52 points, but Aston Martin are right in there as well on 51 points. Merc have a shout as well, but Red Bull just massive distance.
Yeah, 122 points. That is, well, yeah, as you scientifically said, a lot.
Yeah, the only reason other constructors are in this are because of Sonny's race wins, or Blaze and Somther and Glenn and Hodgson teams working well with all right finishes, but stick Travis and Charmander together, it'd take a lot of risk betting against them.
Obviously left the session, so goodbye, Calm. You think he's going to return for next week?
I don't see it being likely, to be honest. Even when he was on it clear of traffic, looked like he had an alright wing, he was spinning a few times. So it indicates that he didn't really do too much practice, and also that this isn't the handling model for him. Let's remember that this is our GOAT in VLF1, so he's just got so much history of performing well, so many race wins. This just isn't his game. So F for the big man. For our remaining drivers, 13 of them, they'll be approaching the second restart, so let's have a look at what's going on here. Sonny will take the restart this time. Blaze has to look ahead at someone for the second restart. We've got our front runners all on the hard tyres, so they'll be thinking about when to pit as they restart here. Sonny should blitz away from Blaze. I think Blaze will let Somther, his teammate, through here as they go towards the final corner. Sonny is accelerating out of that final corner. He's putting his foot down, burning the ERS. He's got daylight between him and the rest of the field. Blaze leading out Somther. We've got quite big gaps between the next few drivers. Roldinho up into 7th, and then the medium runners are going to arrive. So Trav, Glenn, Law, Charmander, Crispy, and Shadowhopper all running down towards Tamburello. No real big fights. There's a bit of a train, but we haven't seen a big collision yet. Let's see if that changes.
Oh, a little bit of maybe just the game lagging a bit here, but Gaben came really, really close to something. I hope everyone warmed the tires up properly, because that's gonna be important. Otherwise, you're gonna do a calm and spin around.
Yeah. Great send from Glenn, by the way. He just sent it on Roldinho, coming up to that Tosa hairpin, and it's a more confident move than I've seen from old Glenn, and he just made it stick so well.
Yeah.
Or another medium runner taking it past Roldinho, so that's the trend we're looking for. Medium runners overtaking the harder tyre counterparts.
Yeah, exactly. Now, next one is Charmander. He's gonna do it very, very soon. Travis, P7, just behind the McLaren boys. Oh, goodbye. There's Charmander, while Crispy is spinning around and now in P13.
Yeah, what was that? Was Crispy the one that initiated that, or did he just spin all by himself?
There was some contact, I believe. I'm not sure who initiated the contact, but Crispy definitely didn't come ahead out of this. And now we see Travis right behind Carlos, trying to overtake him. Can he make it? He cannot. He's backing off a little bit and just waits like a predator for his next chance to strike, you know?
Yeah, no DRS available yet. Both drivers burning the midnight oil. Carlos is on 29% in his battery for the ERS system, and Trav he just wants to make the move as quick as he can, but he's got time on his side. He's got 16 laps. He knows that all the drivers ahead of him would probably benefit from pitting at some point.
Yeah, and he's making the move stick. He's overtaking Carlos here, and now up in P6, but still a long, long way to go to catch up his championship rival, Sonny, who's a little bit ahead of Brandon, but not too much.
Yeah, we see Charmander Nerd going past Roldinho as well. Obviously, Roldinho losing a lot of positions because of the tyre diff to the drivers behind him. The fresh mediums really counting for a lot of these drivers. Shadowhopper way back in P12 might be able to take him soon. Yeah, it's worth saying that with 7 laps done on the hard tyre runners, and with 15 laps to go, as of the Sunny crossing the line just then, the hard tyre runners can still make it count, assuming you're not called Blaze Homewrecker. So it's only pace diff. None of our drivers really need to pit, apart from Blaze, if everything goes well. It's all about the deltas and whether Trav can cut his way through the field.
And we saw the driver swap from Mercedes here. Somther now in P2, or Brandon on this older tires, as you just mentioned, giving the position to his teammate, just like a true captain would do. Roldinho now back in P12. Other than that, Travis very, very close to copy. Battle for P5. So I think that's gonna be maybe the next overtake we're going to witness.
Yeah, Blaze is on full elbows out duty. He's trying to give his teammate Somther a lot of space ahead. The more he can just delay the rest of the field while he's still out there before he has to pit, the better. He doesn't have the pace advantage himself. He's got a time penalty. He's on old hards. He's resigned himself, I think, to the fact he's not going to be competing for the top 5. So he's just got to drive quickly, make a good pit when it happens, but he'll be damned if before then he doesn't interrupt some people. This, I believe, is the first lap on which we have DRS after the second safety car. Yep. So we see Gaben gunning it. He's pressed the button instantly, going towards Blaze. Pyro's a bit further back, but Trav is going to make the run here. He's accelerating very quickly towards Pyro. Gaben trying to go down the inside of Blaze, but it's not going to stick. Slightly further back, Trav doesn't make the move on Pyro, but Charmander is going to have Law's number, potentially team orders in the way there. Carlos just behind the duo.
Very, very nice defending from Brandon. He still continues to defend, but now runs a bit wide, and the caster curse. Now I have my caster curse as well. Gaben overtakes Brandon after some nice defending from Brandon here. Yeah, and Travis and Copy are fighting back and forth, but I think Travis has the better end here.
Yeah,
P5 now.
Coming up to Aquaman Rally, really nice move by Trav. He's got a clear advantage now over Homeboy Pyro. Glenn on mediums does have tyre advantage over Pyro, and I would argue slight pace advantage as well. So Glenn really wanting to make it stick after Ravatsa or on the long DRS straight. Yeah, Blaze has done a stellar job in keeping Gaben back from Somtha. Somtha now wanting to get within DRS range of Sunny with an approximate 1 second lead at the front. Sunny looking to just zoom off into the distance, but Somtha isn't going to let him. He has the bonus button of DRS to hit. Trav similarly making a move onto Blaze down this home straight. Glenn and Charmander Nerd within DRS range of Pyro, so a lot of moves threatening as we approach Tamburello. Somtha not going to be able to make it stick onto Sunny. Trav getting close to Blaze, but it's not happening. Glenn getting past Pyro on Italian Stallion.
Yeah.
Charmander in the hunt as well.
Crispy overtaking Carlos while his right side of the car was way off track in the grass. So a nice move, I would say. Was something, yeah, as you said. Oh, Shadow Hopper, meanwhile, a 3-second time penalty. He was my 10% prediction. So I said he's gonna make it up the podium, and so far it's looking good. But what I wanted to look at, Cradden, compare our two lovebirds, Brandon and Glenn, right? Glenn went in the safety car phase to get his fresh mediums. Brandon stayed out, and I think it's safe to say that Glenn had the better strategy here.
Yeah, he's gained so much off the safety car here. Brandon is going to have his current stint cut short. He has to box, whereas I think every other driver in the race is okay on the current tyres, assuming danger doesn't strike. The advantage for Brandon is he can bring out a set of soft tyres, which no other driver can do, but at that point he'll have lost so much track position, he's hoping for a safety car. His time of boxing people out at the front is sort of over, and we're also seeing the front of the grid spread out a lot. Charmander making a move on Glenn here. They're going too wide as they approach Tamburello, but Charmander has a massive advantage. Law similarly moving close to Shadow Hopper. Bear in mind that my 10% prediction was Law and Shadow, who nosed it out of Q1, are both to finish in the top 5. There is potential here.
There is definitely potential, Credden, and that's gonna be very, very exciting. In the meantime, because but Law has a 6-second time penalty, so it's gonna be difficult. But Shadow, why not? He has Copy, Glenn, and Charmander, so 3 drivers. It was difficult, very, very difficult to overtake ahead of him, but I believe he can do it. In the meantime, Carlos dropped back to P13. Oh, so not sure. Crispy and Law coming very, very close. Crispy probably didn't expect Law to brake that hard, but wouldn't be the first brake check of today. No spoilers.
Yeah, definitely. Law is used to the opposite of brake checks if we go back to Season 1 Baku, when he just rammed the whole grid into each other with an accelerator pedal. Crispy again nearly hitting Law, so it should be fun. Yeah, Barry BL just borrowed the timing stack for a second. Looks like he's giving it back to us now as we go 10 laps to go. Trav making a run on Gaben. He's almost cut his way through the field. Just 3 drivers to go as he's still riding through them on the medium tyres. At this point, the medium tyres are starting to lose their advantage.
Brandon I'm just surprised that Brandon and Charmander are fighting here, back and forth. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'm caught up in this battle now, to be honest, because every time our drivers go down that stretch, Bassa, Tamburello, with the DRS, with burning DRS, it's when you see those strategies collide. Yeah, I was talking about Trav just cutting through the field. He's almost got into those podium positions. The medium tyres, when they were fresh, had the biggest advantage over the hard tyres. I would argue that advantage is a bit less at the moment, but Trav is still bringing his pace to bear against, at the front, some of our fastest drivers in VLF1. Just, it looks like he narrowly avoided that corner cut there, and he's in prime position to strike at Gaben. Meanwhile, at the back, Carlos has taken a bit of a tumble.
Yeah, Carlos spun around, so not having his best race. A bit sad that something just caught a 3-second time penalty, because he didn't have anyone any penalty before, and Sonny had one. So there was a potential of a race win. I mean, still 9 laps to go, Brandon speeding in the pit lane. There is some frustration.
Yeah, table smash potential. In the meantime, we've got Crispy making a move on Pyro again, medium hard tyre diff, and Pyro forced out on the reverse switchback. We also saw Trav take out Gaben in that similar run, so a lot of changes there. Blaze able to change over to softs, but he's so far behind the pack. We're talking safety car praying now. Something within 0.6 of Sunny, so the fact that Sunny or Trav, none of them have been able to get daylight between themselves and the rest of the pack, really screams that Emilia, which we haven't seen much before, is really great for performing DRS trains, is really competitive. I think we'll see this battle go into the end, and our top 4 drivers, none of them have managed to break that 1 second barrier away from each other. We're set for a classic finale here.
Definitely, considering Travis, who doesn't have a time penalty, while Sumter and Sunny have 3 seconds. So far he's on the winning side of all of this. Well, necessarily don't have to overtake both of them on track. Sumter, I'm surprised he's that close to Sunny. He obviously gets DS now, so he can close the gap even more. But will he look on the inside? Yes, he does. Overtakes, shoots a little bit up too far, so Sunny can take it back, but Sumter, make sure, Sunny, not today.
Yeah, I was sure Sunny was about to send it then. They both stay on track. The only winner of this is Trav, by the way. He just got to watch these 2 clowns ahead of him fight, and he just gets to run up to them on the medium tyres. Also, Charmander, who has done very well on pace but hasn't really made headlines, is in 5th with no time penalties on what could be argued as the superior tyre strategy. So Red Bull have smurfed this season. They continue to do so, and if there's more fights like that ahead, then Red Bull are absolutely winning this right now. Trav within 3/10 of Sunny. He's going to look for attack on the next Tamburello. 8 laps to go. He's got to try and get his teammate Charmander into the mix. If this were another season, I'd argue Trav should drop back and let Charmander attack. But Trav is looking for that race win. He has not felt the sweet breeze of a dub in 18 races. He's coming for this one.
It's so crazy that Travis hasn't won in 18 races. Considering, because in everyone's mind, I think Travis is the best, one of the best, or the best driver right now in VLF1, right? But yeah, haven't won in 18 races. Sunny on Sumter here, battle up front, while Travis, he can just lay back, chill, watch them burn the tires, waste ERS, and just make sure he doesn't get a time penalty, so he can coast to the win, and maybe we get a Red Bull 1-2 if Charmander is able to shrink the gap between him and the top 4.
That would be absolutely hilarious in Brest. And the time penalties are on the side. Gaben has, if we take a quick look, we see that Gaben has a 6-second time penalty. So he's pretty much behind Charmander as things stand. Trav's just got to do some work on the top 2. He's already past Sumter, and he's working on Sunny. He doesn't need to overtake them. Time penalties are in Trav's favour. Trav was net P1 before he made that move, but he's coming to stamp some authority on this league.
Yeah, definitely. How is it with the steward system, by the way, Credden? Still able to... Is it the same? You were able to send clips right after the race, while our racing director just racks up time penalties. 11 seconds for Brandon in the back. I think he will not be a happy man after this race.
I don't know how many steward reviews you can have, but not all the steward reviews in Michael Massey's email folder will save Brandon from dropping out of the points as things stand.
Oh,
Trav going for a move on Sunny. He's down the inside. He's sending it into Tamburello. Sunny looking for the switchback here. Trav keeping his nose ahead. The second most reliable nose in the league next to Glenn's. And Sunny is going to be very close to Trav as they enter the Variante Villeneuve. Trav has really made this one stick. And he doesn't have to break away, but he's just going to make everyone think about how fast he is right now.
So either Travis breaks away because he's on the mediums, right? Tries to get at least 1 second ahead of Sunny, so Sunny doesn't get the DS advantage, or he just gonna drive it out because he doesn't have a time penalty. He can back up Sunny a bit, so maybe Sunny is under the attack of Sumter, Gaben, and possibly later his teammate Charmander. So Sunny has to watch his back as well, which is more complicated than just trying to attack the front.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm meant to be unbiased, but I'm really rooting for Charmander here. I just want him to just set some good times, Trav to back everyone up, and it's at the moment I'm still sort of rooting for Red Bull, but if they become too dominant later in the season, I'm going to sort of send bribes the other drivers' way.
Just on them, yeah.
Yeah, they're not quite the Dallas Cowboys, New York Yankees, Manchester United level of heatably dominant yet, but
how can you put Manchester United in what?
We're clearly talking 90s Manchester United here.
When was the last time you watched them play?
Yeah, we've got. We're certainly not talking Ralph Rangnick here as we're looking at our top four.
Copy is off because he was in a fight with Ronaldinho, and now on his home track, Copy P10 only P11.
I thought he was. He nearly came onto the track and took Carlos out.
Yeah,
That would have been the hottest memes this side of Emilia Romagna.
What was that? You said that Ronaldinho sometimes can be a bit ruthless in terms of, driving attitude, defending manners and shit. So, and Copy gets to know Ronaldinho a bit better.
Yeah, well said. There was one point in one of the Monaco races that doesn't count towards our season classification, where Ronaldinho and Somtha came together. There was desync involved, so neither driver had malicious intent. But Somtha was so offended by what had just happened, he posted the clip in Racing General and atted Ronaldinho and said, "Get out of this league" or something to that effect.
Oh my god.
That's the sort of venom that he's inspired. Although not due to his own driving, it was a desync issue at the time, I hasten to add. Sonny is trying to chase down Trav, but Somtha has been broken away from. He's in the sand pit at the moment, and it looks like he's lost his way out of this title fight. Charmander is going to blaze past him. Charmander in net P2 now, with the penalties ahead of him. Red Bull on a 1-3.
Somtha drops down back to P6. Oh my god. My Clothes is not performing while he's choking. His nosebleed crammed. What is going on? He was on course of winning. But his podium.
Even better, if he loses 3 more seconds, he'll be behind Glenn.
He's absolutely pulling it. Oh my god.
It's times now. I wish I could replicate the Keck W sound because it would be so appropriate right now. Yeah, it's something that all he can do is just get his head down, focus on these last 5 laps, do what he can. But it's no denying that his prospects have been damaged. Charmander within 3/10 of Gaben. It looks like Gaben had an issue, whether it was driving or DC. Charmander moves into P3 solidly. Sonny is battling with Trav, but because of the penalties and the nature of DRS, Trav is
close.
Trav's contest to lose.
Look at them. Charmander, Crispy, and Gaben. Crispy now up in P4. Gaben, what are you doing? Oh no. Not well, to be fair, the others had the DRS advantage, right? So Gaben has to just try to stick close to them. Maybe next lap he can overtake them back. But it doesn't look like it. He's already 1.7 seconds. He's even dropping further behind. 1.8 behind Crispy.
Yeah, I just had a quick look at the front of Gaben's car, and he's lost the left end plate, which points to a collision recently. So yeah, he's done a Somtha. He's lost ground in what could have been a really gripping fight for the title in the last few laps. Crispy has moved very much into the space that was vacated by them. He's within a second of Charmander. And Impress, get this.
Yeah, look at this. Guess who's back?
My 50% prediction this race was for Alfa Romeo to outscore Ferrari, and Gaben's currently beating Glenn. But the other thing, there was one Williams driver, which is the Merc Junior team. He's outscored both Mercs put together if it stays like that.
Oh no.
Mercedes in shambles. Crispy going for a move on Charmander. It's really close. Charmander moving to the right, but not critically so. They're going to have room to get into this corner, and Crispy is going to come out ahead and is going to maintain a better line for the switchback. So great move by his Crispiness.
Yeah, and unlike the others, Charmander has to actually fight Crispy. They're actually battling here for P3. I don't think in the remaining 2 laps they can make up 5 seconds, 5.8 seconds up to Sonny, who is 1.6 seconds behind Travis plus the time penalty, so it doesn't look too good for him. Other than that, yeah, the last laps, Charmander versus Crispy. Will Somtha get back? No, he's in no man's land at P5. But Ronaldinho on Glenn maybe, although Ronaldinho has a 6-second time penalty, so maybe he doesn't care that much, just wants to overtake him on track. For P10, with the 1 point battle between Copy and Brandon, but you have to keep in mind that Brandon is on a 11-second time penalty. So
Yeah.
good job on that.
Yeah, I think 5 of those seconds will be cleared if he pits again, but let's be honest, he's not going to pit again. This is the second
Yeah.
last lap, no time for safety cars. He's just got to sort of hope that he doesn't get more and that he can beat Gaben into P11, which doesn't get him into points. It's the bragging rights show for Brandon right now. Ronaldinho does overtake Glenn. It is going to be on track on the run-up to Tamburello. Although the 6-second pen on Ronaldinho means that Glenn is still net P6, so not too many worries for our senior Ferrari driver.
Exactly, and with Law now having 12 seconds, some 6 seconds. But what about to say with Law having 12 seconds, now racking up on time penalties? Even in that category, Brandon cannot perform as the best person out there on track. So he's getting beaten again, Brandon.
Yeah, it's not looked great. He's had to overcome several setbacks. It's not been his day today, but at least he's not calm, having to spin around for 3 laps and then DNF. There's always a bigger fish when it comes to these sorts of things. Charmander has been within half a second of Crispy for most of this lap. Crispy getting a nice burst of speed. Similarly, Trav has really accelerated away from Sunny at the front. You'd kind of expect that with the hard tyres. And he's on his final lap now. It's going to take several miracles and some Codemasters special to deprive Travesty of his first win in 19 races as he enters his final lap. Charmander sort of losing the initiative on Crispy, but P4 is hella respectable for our junior Red Bull driver.
Definitely. He's not. Yeah, he dropped a bit too far back to get the IS on the main straight. So in the detection zone, he was not under 1 second within Crispy. So there's that. Gaben putting the fastest lap in, so stealing the point away. I think Brandon had it earlier because he pitted for softs, right? So nobody probably will get the point for fastest lap here, because Gaben is outside of the top 10. That's how it works in F1. If you're in the top 10 and you get the fastest lap, you will get 1 extra point. But if you're outside of the top 10, you will get I don't know, 1 kiss on the cheek from Crudden and Stuhlband.
Yeah, that's we go down the grid and kiss their cheeks anyway. They've had a really tough time. But Travesty, kissing on the cheek aside, he deserves all the kisses from all the models on the podium. He's won his first race in 19 races. He takes home the dub. Doesn't get the fastest lap, but he's not going to give one about that. He held off Sunny, Somther, Crispy, and even got his boy Charmander with all the battling into P4. So Trav and Red Bull deserve all of your plaudits. Ronaldinho has crossed the line. He's already dropped 1 place because of penalties, but it looks like he's going to resolve into P7. Glenn rounds off the top 5, and Crispy gets on the podium with a really strong second half of the race. Law, Shadowhopper, Pyro, they're going to close out the points in this Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. It was a fantastic race when it came to close battles. The DRS train, drivers using the final part of the race and the run-up to Bassa for getting all the overtakes on each other. We see Glenn getting the Driver of the Day award for disconnecting and qualifying, but then fighting his way up to the 10 points of P5 in the race.
Lovely. Congratulations, Travis. Very stellar race. Deserved winner here. And he will extend the gap between him and all his fellow race drivers here and VLF1. Red Bull also a very good result again for constructors. So yeah, they're just aiming for the constructors championship, which is really good. Yeah, we'll see the end results here. A lot of penalties, a lot of close battles. First time VL has raced here in Imola, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, quick request for production while we do this. Would you be okay to just scroll down the incidents report on Race Director in the short time we have left? That means if there's anything interesting with the stewards, then we can refer the total Race Director screen afterwards. We didn't actually have any steward reports. You asked me about it mid-race in press. When we last did our official race in France, there were no steward reports. We might have some tonight. We'll see. I've just got DMs from Trav. He says, signed, sealed, delivered, man of my word. Hit the 100 laps paid off. He comes in. He talked on the pre-show. He was aiming for the win. He's got it. I can't imagine what jubilation's going on in the Red Bull call, but He's earned every moment of this.
I love when people have confidence and then they can back it up. Obviously, it's hilarious when they fall flat on their noses, but lovely, Travis. You deserve the win.
Yeah, fantastically done. We've had a great day today. We've seen a lot of good racing. In terms of predictions, I went for the 90 of Trav and Sonny in the top 5, and that certainly happened. Alfa Romeo outscoring Ferrari didn't happen due to some Gaben antics in the last few laps. Glenn kept a really consistent drive and, in fact, won driver of the day for doing so. The 10% of Law and Shadow finishing top 5 didn't work out, but hey, they both got points after having the worst results possible in qualifying, so really well recovered by those drivers. Impressive. If you had to give a driver of the day, it can be Glenn because he got the official one. It doesn't have to be. Who would you go for?
I would go for Charmander. He had a horrendous qualifying for his standards, but was able to fight his way back very, very close to finish on the podium. Nice battles at the end with Crispy. Didn't win that, but overall, super performance from Charmander.
Yeah, really well played. I to be honest, I'd be between Charmander and Crispy for just really holding down the second half of the race when everything was falling around them, getting no time penalties, consistently putting in the good times. Although now I've said all that, Trav did all of that and then won the race, so it's got to be Trav for me. Yeah, fantastically played, and yeah, we'll have the standings released after we do the stewards review. But before the race, let's get a quick confirmation from the short driver standings. Before the race, he had 62 points, so he's going to be jumping up to 87. Charmander is still going to be trailing Sonny, and Sonny's going to stay in the hunt, but it's all about our man in the senior blue suit, our boy Travis. Okay, Impress, we're going to be stepping away from the commentary box this week. It's been brilliant to have you on. I've really enjoyed casting alongside you, bringing back the throwback. Do you have any messages for any of the audience or any of the grid before we cut to the chase?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious, Credden, actually, who's gonna be your next co-caster? What's the wheel gonna say? Because I think you have like a Wheel of Fortune in your basement, so I'm looking forward to that. Because yeah, I don't know why. It could be interesting.
Yeah, like I often have other things in my basement. It's actually all of my co-casters, so I just release them 1 week at a time. So guess where you'll be going after the race. It'd be great. It'd be great to cast with you again, and I want to see our big man Joycey come back. I've missed him. I think he was recovering from the Leeds Brentford game earlier today, so he's mixed between that and having to look after our younger Alex.
I only come back, Credden, when we do Monaco again.
Sounds good. I think we'll be doing Monaco for the next 6 weeks in a row, so you're in luck.
Nice.
Real talk, if all goes to plan, round 6 before the season was penciled in as Netherlands. So we'll be going to Circuit Zandvoort, which is a really quick track. It's got a lot of banked corners, and it's a really nice track for people to have battles and showcase their skills. Also a really nice overtaking main straight. That'll be next week. We'll be bringing you racing rivals and steward updates in Racing General if you can. Thank you to everyone who's been here tonight, obviously myself and Impress. Stillbend, who's waving silently from the production zone. We've got all of our drivers, and of course, all of you guys, the community and audience. Thank you, have a great night, and we'll catch you in Zandvoort.
Goodbye.